My old man got me into gaming back when I was a toddler. Things may be a bit different compared to the mid 90s, and I'm not just talking about the graphics. You see, my old man's changed a bit since then. Yep, he died. Where do I even begin with Morrowind? The Elder Scrolls series and I share a birth year and even a month, though I'm older by nearly 2 weeks. That first game being Arena, which you can tell from the titty armor for the woman on the cover that it was very much a product of the 90s. More so a game about dungeoning, from what I can tell. The Elder Scrolls games are mostly known for their time spent going into dungeons and killing shit, be it for a quest or just for sick loot drops. The life of a questing hero is the sort of experience you get from these games. Sent on jobs by weirdos that smoke crack or live in mushrooms. At least that's the case for things in Morrowind. The games before it were more standard fantasy, some would even say generic. But the sheer scope of the games were immense for the first two mainline titles. Daggerfall, while taking place in a smaller geographical area, feels bigger by virtue of letting you just walk and ride to different towns. Arena apparently hadn't been able to muster that technology at the time. Daggerfall was mostly European flavored. You had your knights and your temples and your abundance of white people. You couldn't play as an Imperial or an Orc yet, but you could get lost in overly complicated dungeons. Morrowind was scaled down from the scope of Daggerfall, which rivaled Great Britain in both landmass and crackerdom. Fans at the time were pissy little cunts about it, but now they herald Morrowind as the last good Bethesda game before it was dumped down for the masses. Same sort of criticisms were lobbied against Morrowind, however. And while, yes, I much prefer the presentation of the lore as of the time of Morrowind's release, Michael Kirkbride being a big reason for that, I still have a 1994 Ford Taurus-sized place in my heart for Oblivion, the first of the series that I had played. My old man as well. I believe we got the PS3 version that came with the Knights of the Nine. And because I forgot to mention it here, I'm going to include a little anecdote. My introduction to the series was in one of my neighbors back in the day. A much older man. I was young at the time, a youngling of 10 or whatever. And he was playing a game that was on the original Xbox, and I remember it was all misty and stuff. It wasn't a big draw distance. And he was just kind of breaking into people's houses and taking their pillows and stuff. And, I don't know if he told me the name of the game, but it eventually clicked with me. That's Morrowind. He was playing as a crackhead, just going around stealing people's pillows and utensils. In real life, he was also a drug addict. That's sort of just what I was raised around. As I've said before on the channel, we were a geeky family growing up. I grew up on a lot of the comic book stuff that came out in the 90s, like Blade and all that. And when the Lords of the Rings movies were coming out, we watched those as soon as possible. Even watched those old cartoon ones back in the day too. I still get the where there's a whip, there's a way in my head sometimes. Doesn't hurt that was made by the same people that made the Rudolph movie we all grew up watching as kids. Repeats during the Christmas time, though apparently they play it more than just Christmas nowadays. Brought about my love for stop motion, it did, my favorite movie being The Nightmare Before Christmas. Now that you know of my family's small goth sensibilities, you can understand why I'd be into a game where you can live in a giant mushroom, and dinosaurs are part of the local fauna. Oh, and murder's kinda legal here. This playthrough of the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind was modded. Normally I'd include a list in the description, but unfortunately my installation is a bit borked. So instead, I'll just highlight that the Tribunal main quest Reforged was phenomenal, despite all the issues I had. As always, I will be spoiling the entire game, as well as things from the rest of the series, and likely many other series. Do not watch this if you are sensitive towards spoilers. The setting of the game, Vardenfell, the central island within the province of Morrowind itself, is a land of mysticism and history, steeped in the blood of many. We play as an orphan, far star-marked and hailing from the Dragonborn Empire. Our journey to Morrowind is at the behest of Patrick Stewart, 21st Emperor of the Septim Line. His rule has become far more vibes-based after his time spent in the Shadow Realm. Because of his wet dreams, we were sent from our cozy cell in the prisons of the Imperial City, all the way to the armpit of the Empire. Morrowind is where you go if you can look at slavery in the eye and say, yeah, this is the kind of shit I want to see on a regular basis. And of course, as I mentioned before, murder is kind of legal here. So is bribery, but that's also legal in the modern day too. But we're more sophisticated about it and call it lobbying. I've never heard of anybody lobbying a slave owner in the States though, but I don't hang out with Nestle executives. We're here to deal with some shit that went down so long ago that it makes the history of Judaism look quaint in comparison. About 4,000 years ago, there was a battle on some Mount Doom-ass place called Red Mountain, where Induril Nerevar ended up getting got. But since a source of divinity was involved in the event, there was a crashing of timelines. Yeah, the Elder Scrolls is at its heart kinda wild. The generic fantasy shit is what it might be cloaked in, but there's time shenanigans that involve girl dragons called Jills that fix them, while the guys are freaking out over daddy's mental illnesses. Or they are fragments of him. The realm of Dawn's Beauty is one that I've spent several hundreds of hours in and several thousands of hours reading about. I keep coming back to the series over the years and it's one of my favorites. I guess it's time to discuss the focal point of this video, and why it's coming out in the month of carnal relations. You see, Nerevar was known for being able to get into the good graces of several people, even those that would normally want to kill him. But he was an elf that worshipped 3 Daedra, 2 of which really liked murder, so his loved ones wanting to kill him wasn't all that strange. For those not in the know, who haven't played these games, it's kinda wild that you are watching this, but Daedra are kinda like a mix of Greek gods, and maybe some bits of more Lovecraftian shit. I mean, the Greeks mostly just appease their gods. It's not like modern days people's relationship with their monotheistic god of the winged wheel, in whatever flavor they choose to suckle upon. Less personal, devotional, more transactional. Though some may be wrapped up in zealous fervor, champions of the Daedra coming in many forms, most would get by with minor offerings for favor. The Dunmer, the Dark Elves, differ from most in that their ancestors would worship these darker figures, believing that they taught them to survive in harsh lands, with harsher enemies, that there was a path to endeavor to be more than the creation of the gods, those being the Daedra. You may know them as the 9 or 8 Divines. They constructed the planet that we have spent many years killing bandits and mudcrabs on. Nirn, the Grey Maybe, is a planet crafted by those convinced, or some would say, tricked by Lorkhan. There were others that were involved, but they fled before their divinities were fully used up. The 8 minus the 1 gave all that they were and died in the process. Or at least died as far as a god can. When you look up into the night sky and you see the other planets, you see those which died to bring you into being. Then there's the moons. Lorkhan's body split in twain, and unlike Mark, his life was far more tumultuous one, since he might still be kicking it ashore, or perhaps even as a Shezarene. Perhaps in some way we will become a fragment of the missing god of time, or out of it, as it were. Back to Nerevar now that we have more of a setup. I'm sorry, but with how much Morrowind there is in Morrowind, I must preface things with more build-up. Truly, this is an endeavor in and of itself, and while it has been spiritual in many ways to experience, the end result may not bear the pigweed that others have bled and died for. The people that Nerevar surrounded himself with had more than just a little sexual tension with him. After all, Dagoth so very likes to call us Sweet Nerevar. And it's known the Vivec and the other 2 chuckle fucks were going at it. It's in the official Dunmerry Bible, even. So I think it's not too far to say that Nerevar was able to make such lasting and meaningful relationships by putting his best feature to use, being a himbo. Just look at him. Dude was a twunk. He was good at fighting and fucking. With that in mind, that the man was surrounded by people that deeply loved him, some in more penetrative ways than others, it's time to finally get to talking about...
Come, Nerevar, friend or traitor, come.
A polycule is a web of relationships that's built around multiple partnerships. It's a form of non-monogamy. In effect, it's a form of polyamory in the same way that everybody is 6 degrees away from Kevin Bacon. But instead of handshakes or whatever, it's booty shaking. In this example, that of Nerevar's polycule, it's a complicated shape that I will put on screen as best I can regarding who was fucking who. As you can see, things are a bit complicated. During the making of it, I realized that Azura kinda belongs there too, and that Vivec likely also fucked most people, but not out of the sort of love that Nerevar has for others, more like why Almalexia keeps having different husbands. So for starters, Nerevar is connected to everybody. He was your standard harem anime protagonist, though most harem anime are too cowardly to embrace non-heteronormative romances. I guess I'll start with the most tenuous/controversial of the choices. Let's go with Azura. She's the mom of Elendil Sul, who was a shield companion of Nerevar and would go on to tell the truth of what happened to the himbo-in-chief. Them being such close friends, and the fact that the core relationships that Nerevar had were already so sexually charged, makes me believe that they fucked to some degree, even if it was platonic fucking between friends. Nerevar reads to me as a Goku-esque service top, or even a pleasure dom. Either way, he's about making people feel good, and getting along. The relationship between Azura and Nerevar was that of a parent and child, but in a very unhealthy way, since she's an otherworldly being that demands total love and devotion. Reminds me of my upbringing a bit. On the one hand, she also requires her followers to love themselves too, for she feels the pain of those that loathe themselves. But on the other, she does kinda just curse or allow to die many of her followers for petty bitch reasons. Kinda why I never go with Haley. I'm more of a penny enjoyer myself. She loved, or rather loves, Nerevar, so she keeps sending him back, or the idea of him at least. Potential hymns. Because she is a goddess of love, unhealthy, possessive love, and she will see her adoptive son and chief lover avenged, as well as the devotion of her people returned to where it rightly belongs. Their false gods wore the fragments of her brother's divinity. Dumac Dwarf-King, the king of Red Mountain, was an enemy of the Chimer people until Nerevar had convinced him of the dangers that their mutual enemy presented. An army of twerked-up white boys had been pestering both Nerevar's Chimeri peoples, as well as Dumac's dwarves, who in the Elder Scrolls were a type of elf. Turns out that when your best buddies are giants, they give you goofy nicknames that stick and other people just kinda go along with it. The Dwemer were turbo nerds that used sounds to make their technology last forever, though without maintenance some of it got a little messed up, more so than if they had used sounding as their primary method of technology preservation. So the two of them entered a very close, intimate relationship and was the only reason why their peoples stopped killing each other. This peace lasted a long while, with Nerevar and his tribunal of counselors, plus Vorin, he was there too I guess, on one side of the first council, and the other side being Dumac and his homeboy Kergranak on the other. You could have called Dumac Nerevar's side piece, if you will. But as most bromances must end, it ended in tragedy, the details of which were Roshamond into a mess so hard to decipher that I don't even think a cocaine addict could decipher it. Dumac and Nerevar ended up dead, all because of, Dumalakath's piss boy Kagranak was working on some nerd shit behind his back. In the end, the Dwemer were gone, Nerevar lay dead, and his counselors were gods now, and Azura was fucking pissed about those last two bits. Oh, and his counselors? I guess it's time to talk about those rascals. I guess Almalexia is the easiest to talk about first of the three, since she's the one he most canonically became a beast with two backs with. The lover, the warden, the Lady of Mercy. She was born to House Indoril, being a high priestess at the time that she met at Nerevar, when he was but a caravan guard captain. But even this was written by Vivec, so her origin in that manner is also suspect. Though her being of high birth and being a priestess makes sense. Also, I seemingly can't find where I read that she was a priestess on top of being a queen, but there is a lot of lore up in this bitch. This bitch being the Elder Scrolls, and not my bitch ex-wife. She's somewhat lacking. She and Nerevar were married, and she did love him. Though from context clues, they probably had an open marriage, for before him were an ever-changing number of husbands. The stories are poetic more so than factual, but a matrilineal society. One in which your parentage is traced via your birth giver, since that's far easier to understand than whose cocksnot ended up in there to create you. It is both fascinating and more practical when in a setting or a time period when determining the fatherhood of a child is more difficult. So it would never matter who her eventual children would be, for they would be the child of AM, the face-snaked queen. But she never had any children, none confirmed from what I can tell, but she did have her moon and star. A bit harder to cover, I think, but easier still than the last member of the Tribunal, would be Vivec, the warrior poet, the magic hermaphrodite, and mother-father of monsters. For the sake of ease, and it seemingly being his default or preferred way to be referred to as at the time of the game, I will treat him with masculine pronouns. His relationship with Nerevar is one that was steeping in something even the British wouldn't drink. He wrote an entire religious text that makes up the bulk of the faith of the Dunmer people with the intent to explain why he had to do what he did. The love that he felt for Nerevar, if certain texts can be said to be true, was that almost as of a father and a son, or more akin to a younger brother in some ways. Either way, they totally fucked. Vivec is too fucking horny, and in one specific writing, he had offered himself sexually to Nerevar upon their first meeting. His beloved Hortator, even all those years ago, had met him first when he was just a teenager, a member of a gang, or maybe a gang leader. He lived in the city that was ruled over by Almalexia, I believe. Even at the time, he knew she was a bitch, but this was more due to class differences or what? I don't know. He offered him sex for coin, also offered to share drugs with him on a rooftop. Gutter punk romance has its own charms, I guess. But he also offered to join him, to be loyal to him, to kill for him, for his beloved. The poet that would go on to write his own admission into the Bible of his people. He was a generation apart from the rest of the council. Raised by a netch herder. If you're unfamiliar with the netch, they are like big floating jellyfish. I've got a tier list going over Morrowind's creatures with my cousin featuring in it, so if you'd like more info, that's available on my channel. But he came from simple, humble beginnings, and would go on to bring about the downfall of the man he held most dear. Rounding out the tribunal is Sotha Sil, the resident nerd of the group. He's to the Dwemer what your friend Brennus, who all uses honorifics in casual conversation, is to the Japanese. A bit of a fan. He's more machine than man at this point, but when we used to fool around with the Dwemeri Otaku, he was our best advisor. Maybe because he actually studied more than the blade or poetry. Dude would go on to build a precise model of a less grotesque, duplicitous world. But why would he need to do that? Does he feel regret? Last and very much not least is our former BFF, Dagoth Ur. In the modern day, he tells us to come for him quite a lot. In the olden days, we knew him as our beloved Vorin Dagoth. Before the heart. Before the betrayals. Before we looked like our women loved having twins or triplets so that they could feel the strongest of them slaughter their potential siblings in the womb. Faerun is fucked up at times, homie. But for now, our BFF resides in his own hell. Be it his own creation or that of the Tribunal, it's unsure. But we know that he suffers for it, dwelling in darkness. In a way you could compare it to bed rotting, but on a metaphysical level. He's been gestating in his failed apotheosis for longer than the Septim Dynasty has even existed. Predating Talos even, though as stated before time, is a bit tricky. Retroactive elements and all that. Suffice to say, out of all of our former lovers, he's the most in need of immediate attention. The fact that one of them has been dead for a while, and the other one might be part of an Eva, well, it's not hard to see that the dude that's a super spreader of a disease that turns into a zombie might be the most pressing issue. That should be everybody that Nerevar reasonably could have slept with that we know of. Does this mean that he didn't sleep with the heads of each of the great houses? No. This just means that his interpersonal relationships had more in common with a 20-something West Coast denizen with a Funko Pop collection than it would with, say, most heads of state. Which is to say that it was entirely consensual. Moving on to the body of this video, I'm going to quickly go over events that led up to me starting the main quest proper eventually. I wanted to recreate my first playthrough, which was to become overpowered with alchemy and just show up to my crackhead CIA agent's house, strip the fuck out in legendary gear. Join me as my ascent begins in a dreary little shithole that really tickles Lovecraft's taint.
Come and look upon the heart and a Kulakan.
This incarnation is reborn as a Breton woman who goes by the trade of Witch Knight. Born under the sign of the
Atronach,
she will be the white girl that saves a land of slave-owning, dark-skinned supremacists. There's layers to this, fitting that we star in a swamp-ass region, just like a certain ogre. We experience Fargoth, a Bosmer dude that fans at the time fucking hated for some reason, likely because they reminded them of them. Bullied by jacked crackers, they saw within Fargoth what they didn't like seeing within themselves. Early gear is lacking at times, but between mods and light armor being pretty good, this isn't a bad look. I'm glad that I look like a fucked up meth queen of Nova Scotia. Doesn't help the Bosmer's case that the two first major encounters with them are a dork that gets bullied and a failed mage. Wood elves stay failing. Our first kill of a humanoid in Morrowind, and it's to defend the honor of a murder tax collector, and to give his ex-girlfriend some solace. Is it an ex-girlfriend if it's just because you're fucking dead? I don't know. I feel like it is, right? You don't say, oh yeah, my current boyfriend, he's dead. Don't worry, we can date though. The things we end up doing for Patrick Stewart in this game, man, I can't believe it at times. This bureaucrat even thinks that we support the Empire. Little does he know that I just like money for alchemy ingredients. A tradition of the games is to join many guilds. Those in Morrowind actually need you to be skilled in the skills they use, though, in order to advance. Thankfully, I just want them for their easy services and a couple of interesting quests. In Caldera, you can easily get a master set of alchemy tools. This is a step towards being unkillable. The funny thing is that for the main story, I stopped using these powerful potions eventually. They were mostly to get me to the point where I could fly everywhere and didn't have to rely on the game's dogshit movement speed. Kinda funny that I played 2 games in a row with movement speed issues. The leveling system is revamped to be the one like in from the Oblivion remaster, yes. Making sure that I don't gotta worry about wasted levels. I prefer just a flat experience gain mod, but that's not available for OpenMW yet. I did eventually check in with my crackhead CIA handler, just to get more cash and to see what he's up to. Another good mod lets you have multiple marks. It scales with your mysticism, which is a main skill for me. I'd imagine it's even better for Tamriel Rebuilt. Being able to zip around the mainland would be super useful. Made my first custom spell, a vampiric pull. Mysticism includes Absorb Health, which damages your enemy and heals you. It's quite potent. The Pillow Lady, my first real interaction with Morrowind, beyond the drug addict neighbor, was seeing an image of her in a rather lewd way. About a year before Skyrim came out too. Must have been on Newgrounds or DeviantArt. The wilds of Morrowind, and indeed the wilds of all of the Elder Scrolls games I've played, are full of alchemy ingredients. There's a mod for OpenMW, more of a game itself, that allows you to play in multiplayer. I like playing support and guide roles. I made potions and led quests. An early sign of the mods not working well, Qualma eggs are sometimes not eggs. When I fight the workers, the poachers, not the actual Qualma workers, I use one of my fatigue restoring potions that outpace any expenditure I might have for a good long time.
Hit it, creeper!
Two other things in Caldera that are of note from mods. Gorok Manor being a party house, and some white woman paying me to go check out some glass smugglers. She pays me in goggles that let me fly good, and I strive to find orcs to send back to the manor. A quest to kill off Telvanni agents. Good thing I hadn't joined that great house yet. Unfortunately, the game lacks much in the way of reactivity at times. Nobody gave a shit that I killed those dudes when I was signing up. I got that bug in me. I got sent to go deal with some white woman named Lariana. Her nipple armor can be seen from afar. But she won't give me the quest because I'm afflicted with an illness. But upon my return, we go together and she's like, actually voiced by the game.
I can smell the stench of the Daedra. It is here, and I will find it.
A precursor to more detailed quests followers in the future. Fun time killing a Daedra. She throws up a gang sign in appreciation. I finally break into Hlalu Manor, a place with a murder victim who's got so much storage capacity in his anus that some people use him as their designated dump zone. But I'm not into that necrophilia stuff, so instead I use boxes like some kind of unenlightened rube. I revisit the manor. A man is dancing down the stairs. I'm closer to my goal of looking like both a witch and a knight. Such a goofy helmet, but I like to fly. I found an artifact called the Vanhammer amongst some semen-stealing witches. They speak to the snakes. Eventually, I do something that I could have done much sooner. I exploited the game's selling mechanics to force shopkeepers to have the items that I want in large quantities. I power level my alchemy and truly just make the game into a soft cream of a treat. But I can go even further. The journey towards Grandmaster equipment is a long one, but a worthwhile one. I have an animation mod for levitation that I only got working like a quarter of the way through my playthrough. Looks like some Iron Man type shit. Goopy skeleton. I found some orcs, and since their armor is medium in my style, I complete my collection. My drip becomes impeccable. My first custom blade, the Blood Drinker Blade. Because what is better than healing yourself by hurting others? Few things are. Maybe pepperoni? Finally ended up making a levitation potion. It's a, game changer. Eventually, I even duke it out in the skies with some wicked beasts. One quest for the Mages Guild that stands out is a local Argonian selling magical training without permission. But since the dude is like a healer and training others to heal, I let him get away with it. Means somebody's talking, though. Need to figure out the rat. Talk to some Imperial bureaucrat about his thoughts on the land of Morrowind. They're not good. Talk to Larius Vero about the bad people, the Kamana Tong. Local crime syndicate. They're akin to real-life gangs in that they're ethnically focused. Well, at least those hailing from the old world. I've seen white members and such of the Crips before. The Tong sure as shit doesn't have a Cameron Terrell hanging out with them, though. Enchanted the Dwemer Essence Strainer. It's like my last blade, but looks cooler. I slaughtered the bad people. These hands know not gender, for the women fall too. No kids, though. Had to wait until Skyrim to German suplex those fuckers. Along the way between jobs, I found a slowed slaver. Vile creatures. They turn their babies into soap. Also, they spread a fucking plague. Only an asshole would unleash a plague upon innocent people. New drip, got a new battle skirt. Arrived at a Dunmer stronghold called Telvanni for a Fighters Guild job. Unfortunately, the researcher is a dipshit and rushed ahead. It's a 6th house base, and obviously evil. Dipshit was surrounded by rats, pathetic for an Altmer. Found a Propylon index for Telvanni. It'll come in handy later. They let you travel between these old structures. The 6th house bells and hammer are always fun to play with and collect respectively. I stole their evil Funko Pops, fine additions to my future collection. Got a job to go and hunt down some golden eggs. The entire reason I went along with the Fighters Guild for this long was because I love the idea of getting just a bunch of golden fucking eggs. But also, even before I decided that I'm going to play as Morrowind's protector after becoming the Nerevar Reborn, I just lusted for them fucking eggs. They're like, what are those? The egg soup from back in the day? Who remembers the egg soup? Mrs. Grass soup with the little egg you would put in. These eggs are unique and basically worthless, though, besides their immense value. But I don't give a shit about them since I'm swimming in ebony later on. The golden eggs, not the Mrs. Grass soup eggs. Those are invaluable. Killed a bunch of orcs along the way. They were hanging at a shrine to their shit lord Malakath. Turns out that nobody put much effort into finding this place. This big bitch here ended up just shitting out the eggs. We collect them for our eventual Mushroom Tower. Speaking of, it finally began time for me to start the first of the major quest lines I'd be finishing. Joining up with...
And bring Wraithguard. I have need of it.
I'll be covering the rest of the game in a bit different way, because due to some issues, health issues, I'm having to restructure how I handle the script. But we're on to House Telvanni. So I never played through entirely the House Telvanni, because in the base game, getting around is a fucking bitch. And I got to the part where you gotta do your stronghold, but the lady who handles your stronghold lives in the sub-basement, as in the basement's basement, of the council house for Telvanni, and it was just a bitch teleporting back and forth. So I eventually just gave up on it and lived in fucking Hlalu Manor or whatever in Balmora. So with House Telvanni, it's the Wizard Lord house. It's where you go if you hate most people. If you're like Dr. House from the show House, and you were also a mage, you would be in House Telvanni. It's a house full of ancient necromancers and weird assholes. So I was like, yeah, it's perfect, right? Perfect for a witch knight to join up with. It aligns the most with Sotha Sil, sort of like how Redoran lines up with Vivec, and Almalexia lines up with Indoril, House Indoril. Which kind of just leaves Hlalu and Dren as, I believe in Vivec's words, Hlalu is the godless future of the Dunmer, while the Dress are more the barbarian ancestor-worshipping ancestors of the current Dunmer, the current House Dunmer. But again, that's kind of just the fucking Ashlander, so I don't know what the fuck Vivec is talking about. Vivec in the game wasn't written by Michael Kirkbride, apparently, despite him being, like, the lore dude for it. So, as we'll find out later, Vivec's a bit lacking. The quest line for House Telvanni is one that is mostly about gaining power yourself, as well as enabling the rise, or at least the... What does Arion even get out of it, really? Basically, sort of like how with the other great houses, in order to advance in it, because you're a foreigner, right? You're an outlander, is you gotta find, basically, somebody who's gonna vouch for you. It's a little bit easier in House Hlalu, though that guy's a sex pest. Redoran, you find some honorable dude. I think his son was kidnapped, and we gotta deal with that later on as part of another thing. But in House Telvanni, your point of reference, your dude, is Master Arion, who is the most... Well, sort of like how Sotha Sil really, really likes the Dwemer. Arion really, really likes the Imperials. In fact, he has one in his, like, Imperial Museum, even. It's a little goofy, it's a little fun. It's like a little jail cell where he just kind of hangs out. I don't even think he hates being there. I don't even know if he has any unique dialogue, actually. It's pretty funny. The Telvanni, while other houses or other organizations might have you do duties or business, they have you do chores. The early game for House Telvanni is mostly about going out and doing some grocery list completions for them, though some of the quests are more deadly than others. The culture of the House Telvanni is one in which It's a bunch of independent city-states, though I'm using those words very loosely, not just because Morrowind is a place where it's like, a city is like 20 people or whatever for some of these cities, or towns rather. It's more of like a little village, where it's just, Mage Lord and his big fuck off mushroom tower, and in the pods of the tower are all like the 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 service givers of the town, where it's like, here's a guy who can do enchanting, here's a guy who can do enchanting, but also he sells forks or whatever the fuck. It's sort of like when you go to Walmart and you're like, man, I need some lettuce for my salad, I need to get a new car battery, also I need a gun. So you get all those things from Walmart because you're an American and it is your right to get a firearm from Walmart. The Telvanni's handling of things like slavery and rights are rather Klingon in nature, in that if you stole and got away with it, you deserve it. If you killed somebody else, obviously your argument has more merit. And that's in their official rulebook. What the fuck? The Affair of Wizards, I think, is the name of their book. Kind of like how the Hlalu have Grasping Fortune, and the Redoran have... I can't fucking remember. I like the Redoran, but it's probably like Honor and Duty or some bullshit like that. Along the way, I do eventually get to make my big fuck off wizard tower. And I do in fact enjoy the idea of having a big fuck off wizard tower. Unfortunately, it's really cramped. There's a robot that gets in my way all the time. He's pretty useless since nothing really attacks you in your houses. I think only the Dark Brotherhood can pop up. But he blocks the way to my fuck-ass basement, which also has no real use to it. Though I did find uses for my useless basement. I'm gonna be doing a house tour, or like MTV Cribs, but it's Morrowind, Telvanni. That's what the MTV stands for. I'm trying to think of what the fuck else I should talk about regarding House Telvanni. Out of all the houses, I don't know, they're kind of full of ancient, old, weird assholes. This one lady's just batshit fucking insane and talks about spiders all the time. Or like how when she was a kid, she didn't like grinding diamonds down for alchemical purposes. Another one just hates men. But I played as a woman, so it doesn't fucking matter. She's like, I don't know, man. I don't know why she hates men. So let's see, some other one. If you played the Dragonborn DLC for Skyrim, you might recognize Master Neloth, though he's not currently voiced by Mung Dahl, so you're not really the chowder to him. Back in these days, he was kind of just a grumpy old cunt, and you might be saying to me, Raven, Neloth is already a grumpy old cunt in Dragonborn. What if I told you that not only is he even grumpier and more of an old cunt, but also he pays you very poorly for finding some cool robes and shit. And with that, I think it is time for me to discuss the fact that oh yeah, I guess I'll bring up the fact that 2 out of the 3 leaders of the Great Houses need to be offed in order for you to become the leader of their factions. Technically, with House Hlalu, you don't need to kill the guy. But killing the biggest slave owner on the island of Vardenfell, besides the Emperor, we'll get to that later, is pretty dope as shit. Like, you kill the guy, his brother... Wait, I can't remember. Is the Duke the leader of House Hlalu, or is just his brother just has too much clout? I can't remember. Anyway, the leader of House Telvanni... I only got so far in this section in terms of notes. This is going off the top of my head. Garth? Gorin or some shit. He's some asshole in a mushroom tower. I killed the shit out of him and his 2, Daedric guards. He had a cool-ass robe. I stole his other robe, which is from the concept art, but his robe it's broken as hell. But at that point in the game, you're already doing all kinds of goofy shit. I'm flying around for like 45 minutes at a time. Doesn't matter. It's the drip is impeccable. With that, it is time for me to start talking about, after going through the godless house, the house that doesn't give a shit about the Tribunal, In fact, in their, I think in the city of Vivec, in their canton of that, the Tribunal Temple is like in the basement. I think actually that's the case for most of the places. I think that in Sadrith Mora, their like capital city or whatever. I think it is, right? The tribunal is in fact in the basement, but that fucking weird hobo lady that builds mushroom houses, she's in the basement's basement, and it's very moist there. She's a very moist woman all the time. She lives among the roots, the mycelium or whatever. It is time for me to join the Tribunal Temple. The temple dedicated to those fucking assholes that killed me and then tried to say, no, we didn't. That's a lie. Just like how, you can't believe it's not butter? Man, I really can in fact believe that this is in fact not butter.
Come to the Heart Chamber. I wait for you there, where we last met countless ages ago.
The nation of Morrowind is a theocratic one, formerly run directly by the Tribunal, but after their loss of direct divinity because of Dagoth Ur's shenanigans, they had to withdraw from the public. The temple focuses on a combination of good works, capital G, capital W, but also the more zealous removal of extremists. In my experience, I don't remember being forced to harm any innocent people, unlike in the Mages Guild where the one quest giver in Balmora, she kept trying to just have people offed. She's got a very Telvanni mindset for being such a Telvanni hating bitch. But among the temple, I don't think I was ever really forced to slay any false witches or torture anybody, things like that. Though, the Ministry of Truth does in fact exist in Morrowind. It's a carved out big fuck off meteorite? I don't know how that shit works. It's a small moon. And it's called Bardau. It's got a name. It's also sentient, possibly. Sapient? Whatever. It's a guy. It's a fucking guy. It might also be one of Vivec's kids, if I remember. Potentially, it could be one of those. Sheogorath might have also convinced it to fall towards Vivec the city. And by Vivec's child, I mean Vivec the god, a child of Vivec the god. Vivec fucked. It's a complicated. Listen. The lore, the Bible of the the Dunmer people is a goofy mess. Vivec does a lot of fan fiction bullshit, and he just that's just how he rolls. The Ordinators bear the face of our previous life as a mask. They kill and subjugate in our name. They haul people up into Bardau, and they do horrific things to them, torturing them, making them sleep on the floor, all kinds of, like, shitty, bad people things. It's an inquisitorial organization. Well, technically, I think it's supposed to be like the Ministry of War or some dumb fucking formal bullshit like that, but you get the gist. The temple itself, the good works that it performs, includes things like disease removal, supplying food and drink to far-flung monks. It is, at its heart, meant to do the good things that any government should do. Feed the hungry, house the homeless, and heal the sick. The temple understands good society more than most modern nations do. I could go on to a diatribe about how, like, Jesus also preached similar things and how a lot of people that say they love Jesus Cristo don't actually believe in any of that shit. But I don't have the time nor energy to go into a philosophical / theological discussion on the virtues of an ancient what the fuck was he statted out to be in D&D? He's what, a lich? What the a revenant or something? Anyway, for the Dunmer, ancestor worship, the Daedra used to be part of their faith, but they were / are fickle. And ancestor worship in general among the Dunmer, it's not unique totally to the Dunmer. I want to say the Altmer, which they originate from, when they were the Chimer, the changed ones. First, they were changed by virtue of splitting off from the Altmer and changing their understanding of the world, but then they were changed physically when Azura was like, "Nuh-uh-uh," to the Tribunal getting godhood and all that fun shit. But they used to, and still technically to a degree, worship their ancestors as paragons of, this is what you should do, this is the cool shit that you should do. And the Daedra were seen as a way to have ancestors of even greater spirits. I go into it later regarding why that's kind of doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but the way that they were practiced was more akin to the Greek gods, in that among the... It was known that they were shitty, that sometimes their extreme behaviors went beyond even what humans would feel. But the thing is, right, is that gods are capable of far more than any mortal. So their fickle nature made it in such a way that the temple as it is would have never existed. Barring Azura and the fact that she kind of sort of gives a shit, I don't see Mephala or Boethia truly caring whatsoever about feeding the hungry, about housing the homeless, or tending to the wounds and the ills of the common folk. But those will be covered more later on. The good Daedra. Good in quotations, not capital G good in the sense that I've used. As appropriate as can be, I'd like to sing one of the few hymnal songs that I enjoy, and found to be as fitting as can be for the better aspects of the temple. I listen to a few of the songs that I like that come from religious things, or things that like folk music, but this was likely the one that would fit the most. So without further ado, here's a musical number. As I went to the valley to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, fathers, let's go down, come on down. Oh, fathers, let's go down in the valley to pray. As I went down into the valley to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the robe and crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, mothers, let's go down, come on down. Whoa, don't you want to go down? Come on, mothers, and let's go down in the valley to pray. As I went down to the valley to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, brothers, let's go down, come on down. Come on, brothers, and let's go down in the valley to pray. As I went down in the valley to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the robe and crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Come on, sisters, and let's go down, oh, come on down. Come on, sisters, and let's go down in the valley to pray. As I went down to the valley to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear starry crown? Good Lord, show me the way. I think that it is fairly applicable for it to cover the reclamations that eventually come about. Just as the good Daedra were the anticipations, a lot of this is in quotation marks, towards the Tribunal, eventually they would, by the time of Skyrim, become the reclamations. In the formation of the new temple, 200 plus years later, they would be the primary gods to which worship is given. But next up, it's time to talk about my experiences dealing with something that Morrowind and my country has in common. A history of slavery.
Come to me through fire and war. I welcome you.
The Empire, the Emperor himself specifically, profits off of slavery. Crops tended to by enslaved beast folk in the driest plantations of the deeper south are sold off to the Kalalu, who then sell it off to the Imperials, creating a buffer that Imperials can ignore. It's not dissimilar to the modern era of America. There's a good deal of goods sold to the United States that has parts or entire wholes of it with origins in slave labor. And if you know anything about the history of North America, you'll know a little thing about the transatlantic slave trade. Though potentially, you're not like American or you're not like familiar with American history. But if you're like European and you try to say you don't know jack shit about the transatlantic slave trade, you motherfuckers benefited too. I once had to help explain to this one black guy out from Pennsylvania who came back with a friend of mine to live here. And he was one of those guys that didn't know much about how slavery worked. He thought that white people just went to Africa with big fucking nets and was trying to capture them that way. And I was like, that's so horrifically like old-timey racist bullshit. Why the fuck does he think that? So I had to explain the triangle of the trade network where it's fucking like Britain or some shit down to Africa where they would get the slaves that were like captured war slaves or whatever, bring them on over, and then they would work in the warm zones where plantations and shit were, and that one, that was then turned into manufactured goods, or just the raw goods sometimes would be brought back to Europe to either be manufactured or just sold as is. And, that entire fucked up, awful thing, and you got into, like, the chattel slavery aspects, or whatever the fuck it's called, here in the Americas. But, yeah, I had to explain that to a dude that was, like, 5 or 6 years older than me, black, and also, a parent. He had, I think, two... he either had twins, or he had two... No, it wasn't twins, that was another guy. This guy, he had 2 teenage children. They're probably adults by now. Yeah, that's the case. And I'm just like, man, I can't imagine not knowing your own history. Like, and it's not like he didn't have access to the internet and stuff. He fucking loved Yu-Gi-Oh! He knew more about Yu-Gi-Oh! Than any human should reasonably know about Yu-Gi-Oh! But that out of the way, just the fact that man, I've grown up in an area where, the ethics of slavery is considered something to be debated in this area, and I live in just Michigan, up in the north. Sure, it's rural Michigan, but there's a lot of, Confederate flags around here, amongst other kinds of flags. Just, this sort of stuff. Some real Kimona Tong types, Back to the game, though. The Emperor owns the Ebony Mines, the Dwemer artifacts as well, and I believe he also has legal control over glass, as in the volcanic glass, which is like a magical thing or whatever. I don't know how to describe it. I don't know if the games really describe why a volcanic glass is dope as shit, armor-worthy material. I don't know if it's connected to Lorcon, because I believe the Altmer specialize in the glass stuff, so it has to be from other places, too. And this is me just going off of, like, Morrowind-era lore. This isn't even getting to Skyrim, where... Was glass made from, like, malachite and other shit? I can't remember. Anyway. The Emperor owns all this shit. And in those mines, there toils the citizens of the Empire. Beast folk, mostly Argonians and the Khajiit. And the overseers and the managers of those mines are those that paid him and or his council bribes to ensure their placements into those positions. A thing to remember is that the reason why Morrowind is allowed to have slavery was because Tiber Septim couldn't take over Morrowind when he was doing all his empire building. It was the Dunmerry peoples and the Altmerry peoples that he couldn't quite conquer. I mean, also he couldn't conquer the Argonians, Black Marsh is kind of the Fort Polk of Tamriel. It's just a shithole. And in exchange for getting to keep slavery and a bunch of other stuff, like making most other religions illegal, is the Tribunal gave him a big fuck-off robot that can shout no really, really hard. Walks like brass. The Numidium. Yeah. Speaking of, the blood of a dead god, as dead as a god can be, is dug up by citizens whose freedom should be guaranteed from the state that was born of former slaves themselves. But hypocrisy and profit goes hand in hand for those in power. I did what I could with what time I had while playing to liberate several slaves. I want to say it was like 24 or so. Killing my way through several of them. Not slaves, the slave owners. Enjoy a cover of a song about a man that killed to liberate slaves over some gameplay of me doing the same. John Brown's body lies a-moldering in the grave. John Brown's body lies a-moldering in the grave. John Brown's body lies a-moldering in the grave. His soul goes marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His soul goes marching on. He captured Harper's Ferry with his 19 men so true. He frightened old Virginia till she trembled through and through. They hung him for a traitor, themselves the traitor crew. His soul goes marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His soul goes marching on. John Brown died that the slave might be free. John Brown died so that the slave might be free. John Brown died that the slave might be free. His soul goes marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His soul goes marching on. The stars above in heaven are looking kindly down. The stars above in heaven are looking kindly down. The stars above in heaven are looking kindly down. Oh, in the grave of old John Brown. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His soul goes marching on. John Brown's knapsack is strapped upon his back. John Brown's knapsack is strapped upon his back. John Brown's knapsack is strapped upon his back. His soul's marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His soul goes marching on. Some of these lyrics I haven't seen before. That's why I'm out of tune with some of these fuckers. His pet lambs will meet him on the way. His pet lambs will meet him on the way. His pet lambs will meet him on the way. They go marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His soul goes marching on. They will hang Jeff Davis to a sour apple tree. They will... Fuck, I didn't read... Oh... They will hang Jeff Davis to a sour apple tree. They will hang Jeff Davis to a sour apple tree as they march along. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His soul goes marching on. Now 3 rousing cheers for the Union. Now 3 rousing cheers for the Union. Now 3 rousing cheers for the Union as we march, and we are marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His soul goes marching on. Oh, fuck. The songs I prefer better on are the ones I actually have sung before in my own spare time. And if that song sounds familiar, what is it, the Battle Hymn of the Republic took the cadence or the beat or whatever from this. This might not be the original one, though. I've heard other songs, but it might be the original beat. A lot of songs are in the beat, or I don't know fucking music terms. Anyway, following my adventures in the liberation of the bodies of those bound by chains, I thought to then cover the old gods of the Dunmer, their worship of.
Welcome, Moon and Star. I have prepared a place for you. Come, bring Wraithguard to the Heart Chamber. Together let us free the cursed false gods.
The former triune of gods that the people of Morrowind used to worship, before the skin turned dark, were the Daedra. Specifically, not ancestors, as their names translate directly to not our ancestors, unlike the Aedra, which are our ancestors, or just ancestors. I can't remember which. Which, for an ancestor-worshipping peoples, is kinda really fucking funny. The three good Daedra are made up by Boethia, Azura, and Mephala. Boethia is... How do I describe this bitch? Boethia is the god of, like, I don't know, deceitful murder? Like, murder, and then sometimes it doesn't involve deceit, but it's, like, violent murder, like, beat the shit out of people murder, blood sport, stuff like that. Domineering, sort of, like, fuck people over for power sort of thing. I believe it was Boethia that gave the philosophy of being able to become more than you were born into to the Chimer, which became the Dunmer, and also made the Great House system so they could be stronger, and also there's a prayer that is about Boethia protecting you, but at the same time, Boethia also sees everybody as dust or some shit, I believe. It could be Mephala, though, I can't quite remember. Anyway, that's Boethia. Goldbrand is their fucking thing. Azura. She is the Fate, Twilight, the opposite of Twilight, Dusk. She made the Dunmer into who they are, quite literally. They look like her. As a sort of, go fuck yourself towards the Tribunal. Every time they looked upon their people, they had to see the face of Azura looking back at them. I've already talked about her a bit. You know what she's about. Mephala. Secret murder. Sex murder. Sexy murder. She's the patron goddess, god of the Morag Tong, the legal killing guild, basically. As a way to ensure that Great House Wars didn't become too deadly, you could get a writ made to have another noble killed. That way, instead of, say, like 100 or so civilians, just peasants killing each other, it's just one assassin sent, maybe a few professional armed guards are dealt with on top of the target, but generally they try to be clean about their kills. It boosts your rep with them because you can join the Morag Tong. It's pretty neat. As somebody who likes Assassin's Creed, it is pretty interesting to see, like, a legal assassinations guild. Unlike the Dark Brotherhood, which is a splinter cell sort of organization from the Morag Tong. I started Boethia's Daedric quest since it takes so fucking long. It's like 2 or 3 weeks in game. You gotta go into the ocean, talk to Boethia's decapitated head as the statue, and then you gotta go find an orc. It is, in fact, the orc from the Gorak Manor. It's fucking fantastic. He's a fucking shirtless, crazy man. Unfortunately, him doing this does force him to wear a shirt. It's fucking appalling. The next quest that I did was Azura's, which was a pissing match with a Sheogorath. She was like, it's like the meme of like, it's like Jesus with Jesus, where it's like, my child will do good thing, and then Satan's like, they will do bad thing. Where it's like, yes, my priestess loves me so much, she will stay in this shit shack for 100 years, no matter what you do. And Sheogorath has been sending Daedra to just fucking raise a ruckus outside just to be an asshole, which is really fucking funny. And, like, his representative sent down, he gave her his fucking ring. Then again, he also is the god of madness, so it doesn't, I guess he doesn't have to make, I don't fucking, listen, man. The Joker's never appealed to me that much. Shil-Garath is also just like, fuck off. And then, lastly, Mephala doesn't like scabs. Scabs as in people that don't work in the Union. What union? The Morag Tong, the Murderers Guild. They've got union benefits, they've got a pension plan, a retirement plan, cause you know what you do when you're retired? You die. That's right. You get to be killed, and then I don't know what Mephala's afterlife is like. I know Mephala likes spiders, and I'm not big on spiders, so that kind of sucks a lot of dick. And not in like a fantastical Gluck 9000 sort of way. But it is what it isn't. The good Daedra, still in quotation marks, are considered to be the anticipations of the less barbaric Tribunal. Azura was the anticipation of Sotha. Boethia was the anticipation of Almalexia. And Mephala was the one for Vivec. Though, this is more of a co-option of the old gods, since they didn't sign off on losing their largest group of worshippers. Azura to Sotha, makes some sense. Azura has some magical properties of, like, she covers mages sometimes in terms of, like, her worshippers, very, like, priestly types and all that. So that makes sense. Fucking murder, like, cool violence and stuff, being the sort of thing that's supposed to bring about the healing mother, it helps mask her inner reactions to things she doesn't like. Very Karen-like in her sensibilities. Meanwhile, Mephala Vivec is like a more clear, because like, well, people see Vivec as like loving and like a cool dude, and then Mephala is like, ooh, sexy murder. Vivec has sexy times, but he does it for like funsy onesies, not for like, dude, wouldn't it be really fucked up if I seduced this princess and then drained her of all her blood? That's how I imagine a spider would do. Man, Spider-Man Mephala would be fucking horrific. In the end, though, the Tribunal were better than those that came before, since the Temple has some good shit in it. They're less thick, they knew what it's like to be human. I don't believe the propaganda of Azura and the other two don't really, apparently they don't give too much of a shit, they don't fucking talk about it all that much. But, listen, it's a complicated, I have a complicated relationship with my fucking, my gaggle of exes. Not just the Tribunal, but also Dagoth. And I guess Azura, yeah, she was in the Polycule. It's complicated. No song for this section, though. There's nothing that really caught my eye in terms of what would fit for all this. But it's finally time to start the main quest, however. All decked out, all ready, did all the faction quests I didn't do before. Time to check in with my crackhead CIA agent.
Welcome, Nerevar. Together we shall speak for the law and the land, and shall drive the mongrel dogs of the Empire from Morrowind.
Oh, this is the good stuff, operative. I get it direct from the fields in Elsewhere. Why does Elsewhere sound like elsewhere?
So basically, the Emperor sends us out to try and fulfill some wet dream he had about an old dead guy. Our contact in this shithole is a shirtless drug addict that sends us out to go chat with some informants. Those informants include a jock nerd, a necromancer that adds a kick-ass skeleton to Gorak Manor, and eventually, a few in the city of our ex-Vivec. His city kinda sucks. It's a big and mostly empty outside due to, technical limitations. There's a cat with IRS issues, a lizard that legally kills people for money, but is being accosted by some louts, and a meddlesome priest that is stuck with some Orwellian bullshit. Each of these characters introduces us to another faction, not dissimilar to how BioWare RPGs work. It'd be cool if they had joined us in our journeys, but this isn't that kind of game, unfortunately. Next, we gotta get word from an Ashlander. They fucking hate foreigners, but that might just be a Dunmer thing. How very American of a country of immigrants to own slaves and hate foreign people. Once I'm back to Caius, he talks about his thoughts on vibes-based governance. I gotta go into the Ashlands to meet with the tribe to gaslight them into thinking that I'm King Arthur / Jesus. The Ashlanders are the nomadic barbarian peoples that didn't settle into great houses amongst the Dunmer. The ancient traditions are in a way such that they still did ancestor worship, they worshiped the Daedra, and in fact, the Ashlanders helped make up the bulk of the, or at least from what I've read, of the reclamation, the new temple that appeared in the Dragonborn DLC for Skyrim. The Ashlanders, well, in game, they don't really move around all that much, but they're supposed to be nomadic. In fact, only one of the tribes really moves where they live, and that's just to go into an old Daedric temple, so they have somewhere to get the fuck out of the ash storms and stop getting bullied by other people. I have to go up there and get their trials and all that shit sorted out. All the trials of the Nerevarine, the things that's gonna turn out that I'm the one, I'm the guy. Reborn. I also end up having some bad dreams, but my crackhead CIA handler tells me to shut the fuck up about them. I then get sent out to go and kill a cult leader. Unfortunately, this cult leader also gives us the divine disease, Corpus. Corpus is an illness in which it gives you super cancer, basically. You're covered in tumors. It's like zombification almost too. It also just it's like a Resident Evil fucked up thing. I mean, at the heart of it, really. It's the one guy that like survived comes back and he's like bursting at the seams because the thing is, right, it's trying to mold your flesh, but if you're not, I think all Dunmer get all messed up besides like the one living Dwemer, but he's been getting cared for a while. Yeah, I don't think any of the non-Dunmer survive the process. The Dunmer themselves generally get turned into horrific beings, be they snoot boys or missing part. Well, it's like Pokemon, right? It's you evolve in a fucked up way. You lose your face and all that, and then you grow a noodle snoot, and then after that you get sick ass robes. I don't know if the robes might not be part of the Pokemon have clothes, right? And that comes with their evolutions. Pokemon's fucking weird if you really think about it for more than no amount of time at all. Eventually, though, we do get sent out to go and get rid of our divine disease. So we gotta go and hit up Dagoth Fear, that's it. Dagoth Fear. Dagoth Fear is a wild-ass Telvanni wizard. And he is, like, 4,000 years old or some shit. He lives up in his mushroom tower, and in his big fuck-off mushroom tower, he's got all of his clones, which are opposite-sex clones, so they're his daughters. He's also married to them. So he's a fucking weird-ass old guy. And in his basement is where he keeps all these divine diseased people. And, the last living fucking dwarf. Some fucking nerd named Yagrum Gaborn, Yagrum Bagarn. I think that's how, I can't remember. I don't have it right here in my notes, so I don't want to scroll up and not see it. Upon returning, though, from getting cured from the disease that nobody else can get cured by, it's a potion, I slurp it down, and I no longer have the bad sides of Corpus, but I get to keep the I don't age thing and the I can't get diseases thing, so that's pretty cool. Technically immortal. But yeah, upon getting back to my crack-smoking CIA agent, it turns out that now I gotta lead everything, because he has to go back to the Imperial City, the capital of the Empire, because, they have his family hostage, and they're gonna kill him all if he doesn't go along with it. Also, the Empire's falling apart, I guess. That's also, I guess, a thing, and he tells us, hey, listen, You gotta be the one. You gotta go out, you gotta be the guy. Listen, don't fucking care about the Empire. The Empire's gonna follow shit no matter what you do. But you can go and save Morrowind. And also the entire planet, because Dagoth Ur's bullshit would fuck everybody up over a few centuries. Also, I think they don't like the fact that he smokes crack. I think that his crack smoking is considered improper for a CIA agent of his standing. The final mission is to fulfill the prophecy, so the Emperor doesn't have to do his job.
You're on your own now. Get Mera Milo to help you find the lost prophecies. And good luck.
His goodbye meant more to me than I thought it would, since I just lost a years-long online friend. I hope that wherever she is doing alright and staying safe. But I gotta go ahead and I gotta become...
Is this how you honor the sixth house and the tribe unmourned? Come to me openly, and not by stealth.
I must now work under the wise woman, but first I gotta liberate Mera the priestess so that she can get the lost writings that will help me fulfill the prophecy. Turns out that having an exclusively oral history is dog shit. And I don't mean oral as in the legendary Vivec's Gluck Gluck 9000 technique. The dissident priests are those priests that don't believe in the temple's interpretation of the events of Red Mountain, the events that led to the death of Nerevar. They're the ones who either found hidden scripture or heard the legends, the rumors about how the Tribunal had stolen their divinity and had murdered Nerevar. And so they had to seclude themselves away from the rest of the temple, since, well, the Ordinators do that thing they do. Speaking of the thing that they do, the Ministry of Truth is a hollowed-out tiny moon / asteroid or meteorite, I don't really know. And within it, the Ordinators re-educate people. It's straight out of 1984. And we have to go and do a rescue mission up there. Thankfully, I'm kind of the Pope in the game, so I can just go up there and they can't really stop me all that much. Once I'm with the dissident priests, though, we talk about how the conflicting reports of not just the battle and the death of Nerevar, but his entire life is conflicting due to timeline bullshit. Or at least, that's one way to see it. Nerevar may have made promises to the Ashlanders. He may have been a caravan guard. He may have been Vivec's student. He may have been a war general all along. He may have been many things. But in our ability to choose who we are, we find a freedom that an aspect of history could never have. That's one of the tragedies of Nerevar. He is once was, never to be known or understood, but we can rectify that by living our lives to the fullest. Turning in our homework, she tells us more about what we gotta do. The entire process of fulfilling the prophecy is like following a recipe. In the Elder Scrolls setting, there's a concept known as mantling, to walk like a god until they must walk like you. Though technically, this is just some form of post-birth reincarnation, which I feel like isn't that much different from tricking reality into thinking you're somebody else. Speaking of, I had read some stuff about the magic and all that, and it never really connected with me. I never thought about it this way, but alteration magic is you just tricking reality into being different. Like, yeah, I can walk on water, or yeah, that lock, it's not locked, obviously. We gotta go and grab some shit for the Ashkan. And I decided, you know what, this is the perfect spot to talk about Landro Sul, the shield brother or shield companion of Nerevar. And why not include another musical number? Everybody knows that the dice are loaded. Everybody rolls with their fingers crossed. Everybody knows the war is over. Everybody knows the good guys lost. Everybody knows the fight was fixed. The poor stay poor, the rich get rich. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. And everybody knows. Everybody knows that the boat is leaking. Everybody knows that the captain lied. Everybody got this broken feeling like their father or their dog just died. Everybody talking to their pockets. Everybody wants a box of chocolates and a long-stemmed rose. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. Everybody knows that you love me, baby. Everybody knows that you really do. Everybody knows that you've been faithful, give or take a night or two. Everybody knows you've been discreet, but there were so many people you just had to meet without your clothes. And everybody knows, everybody knows, everybody knows. Everybody knows. That's how it goes. Everybody knows. Everybody knows that it's now or never. Everybody knows that it's me or you. Everybody knows that you live forever when you've done a line or two. Everybody knows the deal is rotten. Old Black Joe's still picking cotton for your ribbons and bows. And everybody knows that the plague is coming. Everybody knows that it's moving fast. Everybody knows that the naked man and woman are just a shining artifact of the past. Everybody knows the scene is dead, but there's gonna be a meter on your bed that will disclose what everybody knows. Everybody knows. Everybody knows that you're in trouble. Everybody knows you've been through. From the bloody cross on top of Calvary to the beaches of Malibu. Everybody knows it's coming apart. Take one last look at the Sacred Heart before it blows. And everybody knows, everybody knows, everybody knows, everybody knows. That's how it goes. Everybody knows, and everybody knows. We must then move on to talk with Mommy Azura in the cavern full of former/false incarnates.
Nerevar Reborn, incarnate. Your first 3 trials are finished. Now 2 new trials lie before you. Seek the Ashlander Ashcans and the Great House Councillors. 4 tribes must name you Nerevarine. 3 houses must name you Hortator. My servant, Nabane Mesa, shall be your guide. And when you are Hortator and Nerevarine, when you have stood before the false gods and freed the heart from its prison, heal my people and restore Morrowind. Do this for me, and with my blessing.
I spoke with all of the failed incarnations, ranging from Outlanders to a girl that seemed prime for it. I mean, what's more prophecy fulfilling than some girl that washed up on a fucking beach and was adopted by the tribe that knows about the prophecy? They could have all become me, but they weren't me. On instinct, I looked for Caius, but he's still gone. For our deed, we would have been marked for death, but we are too beloved by the people for that. Plus, like I mentioned, I'm like the Pope or something. We must unite the great houses under one banner, ours, and be declared their Hortator, or their temporary war leader. It has origins in Latin. It means to incite or encourage. If Morrowind were more ambitious, we may have led actual troops into battle, or perhaps had the houses bolster our efforts, but Bethesda games are generally lacking in that regard. First among the houses that I had persuaded was Hlalu. House Hlalu is the mercantile house, the house for rogues and thieves, the house of business, transactions. They are the primary slave owners in Morrowind. Morrowind the game, not Morrowind the province. They own the plantations in the south. They also, if I remember correctly, help organize and run the Caldera mines, which otherwise is Imperial owned, the ebony going straight to the Emperor or his lackeys. They help show how local populaces can be co-opted by foreign interests in order to gain a foothold. They were the house that supported the Empire wholly when Tiber Septim himself came knocking. The other houses either wanted to fight to the death or were amiable towards a solution that did involve the death of their entire households. With time, House Hlalu's influence would fall, but for now, they're the strongest great house. Part of our path is in reaching heaven through violence, because we gotta kill a lot of people to get to where we need to get. The leaders of the great houses either need to die so that their underlings, those underneath the counselors of the great houses will be the ones voting for us to be Hortator. 2 out of the 3 great houses require you to kill their leader all the time, but I choose to kill the one that I didn't need to kill already. I'm pretty sure I killed him in the slave liberation section, because he is the largest slave owner. The second house, House Redoran, is the house of warriors, frontier noblemen, comparing to the Indoril, which are homeland nobility. The Redoran live amongst their people. The Redoran, culturally, do not engage in slavery, not because of any ideas of fairness regarding the lesser races, but instead it's seen as it would make them look weak if they couldn't mind their own mines or tend their own food, which technically also are in mines since they mine eggs. It's fucking weird. My guy amongst the Redoran is Serethi, I believe, a man whose son we help save during the process because he is being kidnapped by the current Grand Master, right? I believe that's the title for the House Redoran. And because I forgot about it, in House Hlalu, your point of reference is a sex pest named, oh fuck, I can't think of his name right now. Crassius Curio, that's it. He wants you to call him Uncle Crassius, and he wants you to give him a kiss. He's fucking creepy. He wrote the Lusty Argonian Maid. Third house is House Telvanni, but I already did that shit, so it's automatic. I just talked to my former, not host, my former mentor, Master Arion, and he's just like, yeah, sure, you're the guy. With all of those houses on Vardenfell placated, and supposedly flying my banner, I must now get the Ashlanders gaslit. Because you see, I don't need House Dress and House Indoril. They don't exist, technically, in Morrowind the game. The first tribe that I go and, sweet talk, House Zayanib. The culturally, they are kind of like Hlalu. They're traders and such. The leader wants to prove that we're mighty and immune to diseases, and so we need to go and kill a vampire. And I go and do that, because I'm the fucking Nerevarine. And then I come back and, he wants a wife. And in the main story of this game, you need to go and engage in slavery. We go and buy a woman, and she's like, oh, she's like cool about it and shit. It's fucking weird and wild. But he gets his slave wife, and in return I want to say he gave me a weird fucking... They call it a thong, but it's like a thong in like the African tribals that wear like... Not a thong, but like, I guess other tribals do. I don't know what the fuck it was. Was it like in the neck slot, or was it a belt? I don't know. The tribe after that was the Hayamusa. For them, they were the ones that needed a place to stay, because they're getting bullied by dust and by assholes. So I gotta go clear out a Daedric ruin and bring their wise woman there, because they have no Ashkan to defend them and all that shit. And she's pretty metal. She's like, yeah, if I don't make it back from this journey, you're not the fucking Nerevar, so make sure I don't die. Because you gotta bring her to the ruin and show, hey, it's cleared out. Fucking funny. The next one, and I hope I'm probably gonna butcher this one, the Erbanimsum tribe. Their Ashkan is an asshole. And their tribe they're good at being warriors. I don't know what the fuck the Hayamusa were supposed to be good at. I think they're just good at being weak and pussies or something. But the Arabanimsum, they're warriors, but the current one is an asshole. I think he murdered or something, or like he dueled the previous one, and that guy's son is kind of just a nepo baby, and he gotta put him in charge by giving him some of the enchanted loot from the current Ashkan's buddies, and also we gotta give him a pep talk. Which is very fitting for Nerevar. I'm surprised we didn't end up having to fucking suck his dick or something. The final tribe. Because I either forgot to check with them about it, or just, they have to be done last. But the Urshulaku. I talked to the leader there, and he was like, yeah, sure, you're cool as shit, bruh. And so I got named Nerevarine from that guy. But I gotta go now and speak to the first of my exes, the magical hermaphrodite himself.
Dagoth Ur welcomes you, Nerevar, my old friend.
Next step is to go and accept Sarione's invitation to talk to some ancient twink of Sexdeath so that I can have Kagranak's tools with which I can slay my former bestie. There's a lot here to work with, but lots of moderately dry exposition instead of anything that's half as poetic as what's written by Vivec. His in-game dialogue wasn't written by Kirkbride, which is unfortunate. He provides us info on a lot of stuff. But most importantly, he denies to her face that he was responsible for the murder of Nerevar. Now this section's going to get a little technical since it's a lot of info dumping, so I'm going to try to cover it the best I can, and then I'm going to go over some personal thoughts on Vivec. He offers Wraithguard as a gift. Then he asks us if we will swear an oath to end Dagoth Ur and preserve Morrowind and the people of it. He finds it a bit foolish, but good, that we swear the oath, and then takes us out of space-time in order to teach us how to use Wraithguard in a shorter time span. If he hadn't, it would have eaten away at our health every time we wore it. There is a secondary path to the main plot, but I went with the main plot as is. Detailing the plans to defeat Dagoth Ur, we must use the artifacts that are currently being held by his siblings against him and the Heart. He is alive and connected to this reality through the Heart of Locan. But it also is what powers the Tribunal as well, though they are still ancient wizards without it, as well as being able to harness the power of their followers' devotion to do great and terrible things. His statements regarding his mistreatment of the dissident priests is dripping with real politic notions of how things must be. He speaks as a moral when he speaks like this, in regards to what must be, rather than what could be. A limitation, something that according to some of what he has said he should not feel beholden to. He claims that he became a god to help his people, but I think it was more due to personal hunger for power than anything else. Going over the great houses and how they relate to the gods, he says that he feels the most for the Redoran, and that they are driven by the deeds they do. Mind you, his fanfiction for himself that forms the basis for the Dunmerry Bible states that he did a lot of shit that was either metaphorical or were largely exaggerations. He states that his attempts to have me killed are due to needing his faithful to remain as such, because to do otherwise would see his ability to maintain the Ghost Gate falter. But he's been doing this for a very, very long time. Over and over. He's had potential incarnations killed. his former friend, and perhaps more, slain time and time again. Boom bada boom bada boom bada boom bada boom bada boom dada boom bada boom dada boom dada boom dada boom dada, over and over and over and over and over and over, over and over. I fuck myself over and under and under. I'd do it again. Morning and evening, I felt I was grieving until I said fuck you and never again. Daytime or nighttime, I feel like I'm on my time. My nighttime is fickle, just like a friend. And with my departure from this pain I harbor, I feel like I am sinking and failing to swim. Over and over and over and over and over and over and over, over and over and over and over, over and 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 over. And with my departure from the pain I harbor, I feel I am sinking and failing to swim. He at least has the decency to understand that I would ask of him why he caused so much suffering. Believes that he had to do it all. His failings to succeed are the inverse of our success. He cannot truly be a god because he could not fulfill the role of one. But we are a champion and Nerevar Reborn because we could do as we needed. He says that we may earn the right to judge him by killing Dagoth, our former friend. The price to be allowed to kill one friend is paid for in killing another. The betrayal of the oath is what he claims to regret the most, not outright saying that he'd killed us, but Sul was there and he saw what was done before he was blinded. Potentially conflicting reports and all. I think sometimes regarding him, the reason why he presents himself as our teacher in the 36 lessons is that he wants to be in the role that we were to him, being of an older generation, having helped show him what could be done. We may have been stuck in our ways, but he still looked up to us. Sort of like James Earl Jones and Alec Guinness. How Anakin was the master now, but still ends up getting got by the machinations of the next generation. Another thing I was thinking about a moment ago while I was preparing some ramen for my stomach was I was thinking about how I can see aspects of myself in Vivec, in that I don't like just telling people the lesson that they should learn. I like giving people the tools they need in order to understand what they need to learn. I got ordained after I had prevented the suicides of over 100 people, and I'm currently up to 168. And barring the more directness that you need for that sort of work, I try to lead others towards being able to understand for themselves concepts. A trickster mentor, in a way. And it's fitting, since the name that I go by for all of this, Raven. Ravens and the like are typically trickster spirits and such from native legends. And I might not pass the, what the fuck is it called? The blood, I don't know what the fuck it's called. I'm only 1/16th native. My birth giver was 1/8. I might actually be 1/8 myself, but I don't know the I don't know for sure the guy that knocked her up. But I was never claimed by the tribe. Meanwhile, they sent her money every month and she used it for drugs, but that's a long story. Needless to say, it's I find it fitting how I handle trying to teach people lessons. Because if you just tell somebody, oh, racism bad, that doesn't give them the context. That doesn't make them think for themselves and absorb that information. You need to help lead them to the realization of previous thoughts that were harmful or negative, helping somebody through depression or something like that. Right. You can't just tell somebody to be happy. When I went to therapy for my depression when I was a kid, they had me do fucking breathing exercises, and that was basically it. You can't just breathe better your way to not being depressed. And that was after the loss of my stepdad when I was like, I don't know, 12 or some shit. A bit of a side tangent, but it's just the way things connect back to me and my family is always, it's always interesting to see elements of yourself or the people that you grew up with in games. Because I'm eventually going to have to talk about Almalexia, and she was described by Michael Kirkbride as his exploration of evil mothers. Meanwhile, Vivec was an exploration of transhumanism. Sotha Sil, however, was his exploration of hell. I couldn't find more context behind that. I can understand the other two fairly easily, but yeah. Anyway, time to talk about one of our other homeboys.
But to this place where destiny is made, why have you come unprepared?
Our relationship with Dumac may have been the most complicated. It makes sense that we fucked our advisors. That's just what you do. And your shield friend or whatever? Name something gayer than linking shields with another guy. I'll wait. That's right, nothing. Except maybe having your sister stuck inside your skull. That's kinda gay if you really think about it. He was an enemy of our people. They bled under the threat of the brass automatons that came out from their factories deep underground. But we were able to make a peace that lasted a good long while, at least until Kagranak was pulling his bullshit. Not dissimilar to how Alfie had to save face in front of his men in Peaky Blinders. I don't think that Dumac actually knew of the big fuck-off stompy robot man, but had to defend the actions for the sake of his people. And for this loyalty, or pride, disdain for being told what he can or cannot do, another war began. The War of the First Council. This war would end with Dumac, Nerevar, and countless others dead. Dumac's people are gone, be they transmogrified into the flesh of walks like brass, or Thanos snapped. Either way, we're left without our old friend, a longing in our hearts of a bygone era. I've heard people say that nostalgia is a form of fascism, but those same types also do little other than bitch online instead of helping fight back against the rising tide. A song for a lost friend. So you think you can tell heaven from hell, blue skies from pain? Can you tell a green field from a cold stale rail? A smile from a veil? Do you think you can tell? Did they get you to trade your heroes for ghosts, hot ashes for trees, hot air for a cool breeze, cold comfort for change? Did you exchange a walk-on part in the war for a lead role in a cage? How I wish you were here. We're just two lost souls swimming in a fishbowl year after year, running over the same old ground. What have we found? The same old fears. Wish you were here. Having lost all of my parents by the age of 29, all four of them, I know what it's like to wish for better times. But in the end, our memories are burning photographs that lose details, and no matter how rose-tinted they are, in the end, they will fade into nothingness. What love we shared was intermixed with bitterness. Like with Dumac and Nerevar, my last memories of my old man were not happy ones. We hadn't spoken for about 2 years by the time he died. If you have a working and healthy relationship with your parents, I advise you to talk to them. Record their stories. In time, they will go away too, like tears in the rain. Wake up, dreamer. Time to die.
Welcome, Moon and Star, to this place where destiny is made.
Our dearest old friend. We trusted him with the tools, and in doing so, we damned him. Or maybe he was just a weak bitch. I mean, the dwarves didn't go batshit right after getting the tools. Could also just be an issue of what exactly happened. I mean, what if he didn't go crazy until after he was killed? What if it's retroactive? Or more true, it's just that it's a matter of timelines crashing together to form the miracle atop Red Mountain. And we must end that miracle, for the sake of every person we've ever met. Of course, this is all a Lord of the Rings thing. That white guy and the other white guy, but the other one had pointy ears. It's like that. The ring and the tools are both MacGuffins, though the tools more of a practical use, while the ring kinda sucked as a tool for most people. But instead of just two gay dudes in a volcano, there were a lot of gay people. Save for Almalexia, she seemed frighteningly heterosexual, though this incarnation, being a woman, kinda complicates things. Does that mean I've straight-washed Dagoth Ur? The final approach draws near. I must assault Dagoth Ur, the building, so that I may reach Dagoth Ur, the god. Something that I just read that makes more sense now is that Dagoth Ur and Nerevar saw what happened to the Dwemer differently. Dagoth Ur saw them be Thanos-snapped, while Nerevar saw them as being ascended. That's why Nerevar would not destroy the tools immediately, telling Dagoth to instead guard the tools so that he may ask his advisors and goddess what to do. This difference in thoughts and the nature of time breaking caused the rift that needs to be mended after all this time. I got blessings from all the shrines, taking with me the hopes and dreams of the Dunmer people, living and dead. We met an old Imperial named Wolf. Says the Empire is grown old, just like him. Asks us to bring his lucky old coin with him, something that will bear witness to the fall of Dagoth Ur. When asked, the publican of the establishment says that she hasn't seen any Legion veterans in a long time. This man was the manifestation of Talos, or Tiber Septim, or perhaps more accurately, of Wolfarth. But that's complicated. Talos being a bunch of dudes in a trench coat is a messy thing, but then again, this is a messy series. Thankfully, I remember where the crank I got a yank is. The air quality here makes Los Angeles look less like an affront towards nature itself in comparison.
Come, Nerevar, friend or traitor, come. Come and look upon the heart and a Kulakan. And bring Wraithguard. I have need of it.
His beckoning is a nice touch overall. Handsome Jack from Borderlands 2 only worked because he talked to you so much. He carried the game's plot, basically. Morrowind, meanwhile, has so much batshit and interesting world building that it doesn't need constant input from a charismatic villain, but what we do get is fairly worthwhile. These guys are basically just cannon fodder. Would have been more interesting to learn some lore behind each one, or to talk to them more. He kinda just vanishes. He's not supposed to do that. I'm supposed to have a dramatic discussion with him. Honestly, this moment is what sapped a lot of my steam for the rest of the playthrough. And while I was like 75% or so done, it still felt really bad not to talk to him about these things. One of the most impactful bits of it is the questions that he would ask of us. If we really are Nerevar Reborn, which I prefer to answer with, I am a self-willed hero, and I make my own fate. He praises our boldness, and that we are capable of teaching the gods their limits. If we win, what do we plan to do with the power from the heart? To which I don't know if any of the listed answers really fit. The last, that we have a secret plan, is not incorrect, since we plan to untether the heart. But the thought of sharing the heart is tempting. The manner in which he does so is less than ideal. Finishing a Kulakan, however, would give me a big fuck-off stompy robot man with which I could enforce whatever peace I desire, which ultimately would put me on par with a nuclear-capable nation in the modern era. Sort of like how in the Game of the Thrones, that one lady, her dragons are apparently an allegory or whatever for nukes. Only, it'd be just me with such a terrible and sacred power in this world. His final question would have been if we would have surrendered Kagranak's tools and joined him if he had offered. I'd have to answer that I would never join him. His madness was too great. He is the blight upon the land. He has become the Sharmat, the devil of Red Mountain, and I must slay him. And so I enter his chamber, where the heart resides. My machinations must now eclipse his own. Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit lonely and you're never coming round. Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit tired of listening to the sound of my tears. Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit nervous that the best of all the years have gone by. Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit terrified and then I see the look in your eyes. Turn around. Bright eyes. Every now and then I fall apart. Turn around. Bright eyes. Every now and then I fall apart. Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit restless and I dream of something wild. Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit helpless and I'm lying like a child in your arms. Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit angry and I know I've got to get out and cry. Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit terrified, but then I see the look in your eyes. Turn around. Bright eyes. Every now and then I fall apart. Turn around. Bright eyes. Every now and then I fall apart. And I need you now tonight. And I need you more than ever. And if you only hold me tight, we'll be holding on forever. We'll only be making it right. 'Cause we'll never be wrong. Together we can make it to the end of the line. Your love is like a shadow on me all of the time. All of the time! I don't know what to do and I'm always in the dark. We're living in a powder keg and giving off sparks. I really need you tonight. Forever's gonna start tonight. Forever's gonna start tonight. Once upon a time I was falling in love, but now I'm only falling apart. There's nothing I can do, a total eclipse of the heart. Once upon a time there was light in my life, but now there's only love in the dark. Nothing else I can say, a total eclipse of the heart. I hope that, finally, he may sleep and never wake again. For the fire is mine, let it consume thee, and make a secret door at the altar of Padhome, in the house of Boeotia, where we become safe and looked after. With my best friend dead, I must now face Mami Azura and finish the story. But she's all purple and shit. The mod's fucked up again.
You no longer bear the burden of prophecy. You have achieved your destiny. You are free. The doomed Duima's folly, Lord Dagoth's temptation, the Tribunal's seduction, the God's heart freed, the prophecy fulfilled. All fate sealed and sins redeemed. If you have pity, mourn the lost, but let the weeping cease. The blight is gone, and the sun's golden honey gilds the land. Hail, Savior, Hortator, and Nerevarine. Your people look to you for protection. Monster and villains, great and small, still threaten the people of Vardenfell. Enemies and evils abound, yet indomitable will might rid Morrowind of all its ills. For you, our thanks and blessing, our gift and token given. Come, take this thing from the hand of God.
This further dampened my spirits, but at least I made Mommy happy. The skies over Red Mountain are blue, clear of the blight, clear of the ash storms. The people of Morrowind are free of the madness that plagued them. But still, it is the land of the Dunmer, and there are always villains to fight. However, it is time to celebrate. I visit Suumatul, checking in on the man that helped confirm me as Nerevarine. As well, he was like a foster father to Beakstar, the previous incarnation. This section is a noisy mess. There's not much I can do about it, but it's from a mod and fortunately runs like shit on a computer that can handle GTA 5 perfectly fine. Enjoy some of the highlights.
Hail incarnate and Nerevar. Hail Nerevar Reborn.
Oh, I'm just a sentimental old fool coming to see the big day. Head on up, Nerevarine. They're waiting for you, not me.
Hail Nerevar Reborn. The hand that struck down the hand that struck down. Hail the hero. Hail the hero.
Hail the conquering
When you came to Vardenfell, you were just a wet behind the ears outlander. Now you're the Nerevarine,
Hail the
and
hero.
Morrowind's biggest hero. Well, it's an honor to know you.
The hand that struck down the devil. Hail the hero of Red Mountain.
conquering hero.
Now you are a
Hail
part of
Nerevar.
history, Nerevarine. It is an honor to know you, and yet there is still the mystery.
Hail
Does the
incarnate
hero
and Nerevar.
shape the
Hail
times, or do the
Nerevar
times
Reborn.
shape the
Hail
hero?
the hero of Red Mountain.
Perhaps you should write a history book,
Hail
eh?
incarnate and Nerevarine.
Conquering hero.
Hail incarnate
So,
and Nerevarine. Hail
Turns out the
Nerevar
Nerevarine is an outlander
The
after
devil is
all.
slain. The
And from what I
blight is
hear,
gone.
being
Hail the
Nerevarine was no
conquering
Hail
hero.
picnic for
incarnate
you.
and Nerevarine.
Well
Hail
done.
Nerevar Reborn. Hail incarnate.
Like
Hail
Lord
incarnate and
Nerevar,
Nerevar.
you
Hail
have won the
Nerevar
battle of
Reborn.
Red Mountain, and you bear Nerevar's
Hail the
great
conquering
name.
hero.
One
Hail
clan
Nerevar.
under moon
Hail
and
Nerevar
star.
Reborn.
Will you make good Lord Nerevar's promises
Hail
to the
incarnate and
Ashlander
Nerevar.
tribe?
Hail Nerevar Reborn.
Hail in interesting times.
The devil is slain. The blight is gone. Hail the conquering hero.
Very interesting. So you are this Nerevar hero, Reborn. Do you remember anything from the life of this Nerevar? Can you think like him? Talk to him? Are you like a lich with the spirit of this old
Hail
dead
incarnate
hero
and Nerevar.
riding your flesh?
Hail Nerevar.
Very
Hail the
interesting.
Hero of Red Mountain.
Here, stick out your tongue. Can you feel it when I do this? I must make a careful examination of you for my histical
A
study.
real do-gooder, that.
The devil is slain.
I wish someone would wake me up. Am I dreaming?
Hail incarnate and
Probably
Nerevarine.
don't remember
Hail
me, sir.
Nerevar. Hail
My name is
incarnate and
Dumac.
Nerevarine.
We
Hail
shared a
Nerevar
cabin on a
Reborn.
prison ship across stormy seas.
There they are.
Hail
Many, many
incarnate and
moons ago.
Nerevarine.
Champion of the
Hail
Thunder.
Nerevar Reborn.
down the devil. Hail the hero of Red Mountain.
Very interesting.
You have proven to
You
all the
are
truth
this
of the
Nerevar
prophecies.
hero,
Give thanks to Azura for guiding your way. The devil is dead, and the blight is gone. Thank you, Lord, and may Azura's blessings bring you peace.
Dead hero riding your
The hand that struck down the devil. Hail the hero of Red Mountain.
I spoke with Vivec about what should happen next. After all that had transpired, all that I learned, I cannot bring myself to kill him. Not yet, anyway. My judgment can wait until after I see to my ex-wife. After all, major threats to the nation of Morrowind have been dealt with. I meet with the Duke, though I'm a bit interrupted. He's glitched and makes me part of House Hlalu. I hunt down the white woman that can return me to my bitch ex-wife's city, where some gimps are trying to fuck my shit harder than if Sotha, Vorin, and Vivec were trying to triple team me. It is finally time for me to visit Mournhold. As soon as I get to my wife's city, I talk to some jackass from House Dress about the local goings-on. The previous king and his son got murdered by the current one. Dude's name is Helsith. Wow, what an important sounding guy. I sure hope I get to meet him in my game. Learn from a guard I gotta go to the sewers to go and find the gimps. The sewers fucking suck here. They're full of liches and rats that whisper sweet nothings into my ear like my double-dead best friend did. Only, they don't tenderly rub my shoulders as they do. They just want to bite the fuck out of me like some British twat. Even worse than that, I had to deal with some fucking sex pest. I could end this fucker's bloodline, and he thinks to poorly pick me up? I did, however, find the gimped out edgelords, though, eventually. Apparently all they do down here is read their edgy fanfiction, do drugs, and jerk off together in the sewers. I can only advocate doing 2 of those 3 things, however.
Life is an illusion.
Yeah, and we live in a society, pal.
You would dare enter the lair of the Dark Brotherhood. Very well. We will complete our mission here and now. A speedy death to you. No. Tell my liege, Helseth, I have failed him. Gah!
I straight up thought this was a bad addition from a mod, but no. Dude just straight up says who hired him. Also, that audio quality there, though, is from the mod. Not sure if it's on my end, but some of the mod's audio kinda sucks. Other bits are pretty good, though. The writing helps boost up the expansion later on. Dude even has the contract on him. What a dork. Evidence of their drugged up goon sessions. Is the Nightmother their gooner mommy? It came to mind while I was thinking about it all. There's a joke in here about nocturnal emissions, but Nocturnal is the Thieves Guild's MILF. Le Petite Morte, perhaps? I hate the screaming trees so fucking much. It's just from the expansion. Apparently it's reused audio from one of the early DLCs that were free things you could add to the game. Predated Oblivion's horse armor by over 4 years, more akin to the mod packs or whatever you could get from older games and how it was PC only. Cool new plants, too bad the trees are an autistic person's nightmare. A statue of my bitch ex-wife and Satan duking it out like a couple of evil apes. Is it bad that I don't know who to root for? At least she didn't use her cock to kill him. And before you get huffy, not once did we have a kid together. There's nothing implying she didn't have a big old donger. For historical context, this was during the battle over Mournhold that resulted in the city needing to be rebuilt. Unfortunately, the tech they had at the time prevented them from making the city as cool as it is in the lore, but modders are working on that. Plus, this was a sign of things to come. Future cities in the series would be stuck in their own world spaces, necessitating the removal of levitation via some dumb in-universe explanation of a ban on that kind of magic. Whack as fuck.
Are no longer the gods they once were. As with the tides and Tamriel's moons, all cosmic powers will wax and wane. But when gods die, it creates ripples throughout the lands. The passing of the three will be a prelude to the end of this era and the beginning of the next. We followers of the end of times are making ourselves ready for this to happen. The end of the era will bring many changes. The gates of Oblivion will open, and hordes of Daedra will roam this world freely. Some might tell you that this is a good thing, that we are descended from the Daedra, and it will be a return to the natural order of things. But I know the truth. The coming age will be a time of great horror. The Daedra princes are not our ancestors. They are not our allies. They will wash over the land, destroying all that man and Mer have built over these thousands of years. There is one protection from this scourge, one salvation from this nightmare. Our true ancestors that have gone before us and watch over us, even now. Hark! Can you hear their voices on the wind? They urge us towards the great cleansing, that most glorious of rituals. I hear the doubt in your hearts. I see the fear in your eyes. But do not be afraid. For what greatness was ever achieved without great sacrifice? Cleanse yourself of your troubles, of your burdens here on this earth. For in life, you were nothing. But in death, you join the ancestors, making ready for when we shall all join them in our fight against the Daedric hordes. The blessed tribunal, though once filled with glory, are no longer the gods.
Gotta love Doomsday Prophecies. Has to be one of my favorite capo types. Some anti-Helseth literature. Unlike some fantasy settings, Tamriel does have the printing press. They really keep hyping this dude up. I hope that in person he's just as impressive as this makes him out to be. I finally faced some goblins, and while these ones are less fuckable than some from fiction, they are, however, less bullshit due to a mod. No more being harder to kill than a literal god. Got an even better telekinesis coin. My reach is now 15 feet away. I got that long reach. Imagine the hand jobs I can give with this power. Fuck, I hate the sounds.
We just work here.
I found an underground pamphlet production facility making those common tongue articles. His acceptance of either burglary or a scrapped Elder Scrolls game as explanations are pretty funny. I met some Wood Elf meme named Gaynor. He's here to punish players for not liking Fargoth. He'll come into play later, though. Hilseth's right-hand man says he knows he tried to have me killed. So I decided to just not do their quest, since, like, this expansion makes it hard for me to give a fuck. When stuck between some Nepo baby and my bitch ex-wife who killed me, I wouldn't want to side with either of them. Methrahellas here helps explain why people love the Tribunal so. They actively helped the people, and knew what it was like to be mortal. They once walked among them, healed them personally, but that was a long time ago. My ex's right-hand man wants me to go and see if Helseth is having an army of goblins brewing in the sewers. Fuck, I hate this shit. Unmodded, these guys would have eaten me alive. The mod makes them more balanced, less overpowered. I appreciate the fact that they're on their dead bodies, they have lots of booze. I find the trainers, they scream in unison and sound like vampires. Killed the last of the two war chiefs. To be honest, I didn't even know I was supposed to kill them. I truly have no fucks left when it comes to killing goblins in sewers. He had a shield that heals you over time. In the base game, this might be good. Actually, it also drains your speed. Fuck that. Dude pays me 15k to kill all those assholes. Still not worth it. He points me towards the city's archdeacon, who may or may not outrank us? It's complicated since, well, Sarioni didn't seem to be chatting with Vivec on the regular.
None may enter the high chapel unless summoned by the goddess. None may enter the high chapel unless summoned by the goddess. None may enter the high chapel.
I try and find out who the fuck is saying this. The voice seems to be in a wall? We gotta do a companion quest. Guard some pussy priest who can't even handle a rat on his own so he can purify some shrine to the ancestors because, like, I don't know, man. Literally none of the High Ordinators can deal with this in either capacity. See what I mean? I find the hidden boss area, but decide not to try and keep this bitch alive while fighting the toughest enemy. I leave him behind because he's really good at dying. Thankfully, I'm pretty good at killing.
Forge a keen faith in the crucible of suffering. Engrave upon thy eye the image of injustice. Death does not diminish. The ghost gilds with glory. Faith conquers all. Let us yield to faith. Fate, monstrous and empty, the whirling wheel of evil. But three mouths sing mercy, mastery, mystery. Three hands, three hearts, three eyes. Blessed Amsivi, through birth, life, ghost. Resdaniel Cantarsil, Gardunie Favel, Artanumalatania, Venga el nada dra, nu vane, metanane, metanane, metanane. The ending of these words is Almsivi.
The moment is kinda cool. Too bad the audio quality is so horrid. Though that seems to be from a mod. Unfortunately, he needs babysitting to get back. I haven't tried yet, but why can't he just LMCV intervention his ass back? I get sent back to my ex's bitch boy. This guy's super rude about it. Gotta go get my bitch a ring. Maybe she wants us to redo our wedding vows. It has been like 4,300 years or so. I did battle with the ring guy. His soul wasn't worth much, though. I'm now allowed to see my bitch ex-wife. All it took was some murder. How very Dunmer of her. Finally, at last, I can see my beloved.
What may I do for you, my child?
Sick tats, babe. And unlike Vivec, you actually have an ass. I come from a family of tattoo havers. My birth giver was a tattoo artist herself. Though I use the word artist here loosely, my uncle nearly passed out from how far the needle was going. She dug into the muscle. I talked to her. She's happy that I choose to be Nerevar Reborn, though she worries I lack his memories. Despite everything, she still loves us. Or at least, part of her does. Madness manifests in many ways. She contains multitudes. But this not odd. Oh, honey, you're going a little senile in your quad millennials. Doesn't like that I second guess her need for an ancient and supposedly powerful ancient ring. One of her hands are missing. Says he's being crazy. Her hands are her piss boys that hang out with her. She probably fucks them too. Unlike Vivec, I feel like their relationship is far less healthy. His buoyant armatures at least seem like somewhat decently treated dudes. Meanwhile, her hands... zealotry is too gentle a word for what they have. Still, the love between a mortal and a god is never even. Like the love between somebody with an air fryer and that of somebody deprived of such splendor. Somehow Gaynor has returned. He did. Dude's hostile immediately and thinks she wants either of us dead. I don't doubt it. The machinations of my bitch ex-wife are haphazard at best. The real power of friendship.
Come, bathe in the light of my mercy.
My ex told me to come, and then she levitated. What did she mean by this? She asked me what I want for having killed her former big hand. Unfortunately, a subscription to her OnlyFeed isn't an option, so I go with being more immune to paralysis. Next, she wants me to stop some suicide cult. It's that crazed preacher we saw before. I met with the sister of one of the dudes who offed himself. She says that he was always looking for somebody to believe in. Sounds like a gullible fool. I wonder if they got free Nikes as part of the plan. I speak with Mr. Applegate, I mean Romari himself. Dude explains how they are killing themselves off so they can become powerful ghosts to battle the eventual Daedric invasion. The worst party's not really wrong, though. Random schlubs doing themselves in with no real combat prowess isn't gonna be the best thing against titty spiders. Cults arising during times of turmoil are nothing new. The faith in the three has been waning for a long time, and with the removal of the heart of Lorcan, their divinity is plummeting by the day, just as the faith does. As she praises the sun, she praises me for my do-gooding. However, she is pissy that I won't just false flag her own city so that her people will love her more. If she really wanted their honest love, she'd go out and be worthy of admiration, but she's batshit now, and unfortunately, not written by Kirkbride. I get desperate to where to go next and use RPG logic to find out who can point me in the right direction. Gotta go hit up my homeboys. Unfortunately, I may have sequence skipped a bit and fucked things up. Or something else caused the fuck up later, but now is not the time. I was on the right track. Yagrim says that Devaith may get us to our nerdy ex, Sotha. He's pen pals with our iconoclastic battery-powered ex-boyfriend. Dude was a twink in ESO. After he hits up Sotha via Discord, he sends us to her ex's place. It's finally time to experience the saddest boy of the Tribunal. Man, he's really gone to shit. His entire fucking realm is like a depression cave. It's moist, full of dead or soon-to-be-dead animals. It reminds me of my upbringing. Better sing to distract myself from it. You were my first experiment. Too bad I'm prone to failure. How can I be a citizen when all I see are tetrahedrons? I will never ever get an F for effort. That won't bring back my only daughter. I don't mind if I die unidentified, as long as I'm buried in architecture. What are you offering? Are you offering? Is it free? What are you offering? Are you offering? Is it free? In the house of 1982, built like a ship, your legs are like roots. What are you offering? Are you offering? Is it free? I'll tie your eyes together, even if you sleep forever. If you squeeze my hand again, I'll gladly have a coronary. I will never ever get an F for effort. That won't bring back my only daughter. I don't mind if I die unidentified, as long as I'm buried in architecture. What are you offering? Are you offering? Is it free? What are you offering? Are you offering? Is it free? In the house of 1982, built like a ship, your legs are like roots. What are you offering? Are you offering? Is it free? When I lost you, I didn't know what I would do, but then I conceived of what I could be. A family man, inventor, and an architect. The primary subject of this inquiry. What are you offering? Are you offering? Is it free? What are you offering? Are you offering? Is it free? In the house of 1982, built like a ship, your legs are like roots. What are you offering? Are you offering? Is it free?
Gods have forever to measure their words. Mortals only moments to hear them.
He's jacking it, and by it, I mean the mainframe. I talked to him about a lot of stuff. Most seems to be from ESO. On Vivec. On ourselves and our wife, Almalexia. On Dagoth Ur and the tools. Taken from a missive between him and Devaith, I want to say. On Azura and her words. Funny, since she's his anticipation. Unused godhood is a wasted thing. Out of the Tribunal, he is the one that most wallows in his sorrows. Trying to build a better world, one that isn't subject to the dead whims of those that came before. It's interesting, the people of this setting can directly blame their suffering on a god that forced their world into creation. Meanwhile, most of our suffering in life here is just from other people being assholes. Not that the kings and emperors of Tamriel give a shit about their people, it just makes me think about how the Tribunal at least tried to help their people. We have people so fucking rich in real life that they can end homelessness for fun, but instead they fuck children to death. But hey, more main quest bullshit. I noticed this statue, Boethia, I think. Or at least, until I was reminded of the vanilla version of this quest. Fragments of the statue in that one square, of Mehrunes and our wife. A large Dwemer machine. Right after I find some dust left over by the Dwemer before they got instrumentalized. The Build-A-Bear workshop is a lot different from what I remember. These dudes were building Decepticons and shit. Dwarven high explosives. Nice. Thought it'd be bigger. The water bill must be insane. I forgot how to get this thing powered, so I ended up taking a detour. That detour into a demon shrine. One of my big complaints about this area, amongst the other areas of the expansion, are just how big and unneeded they are. I beat the shit out of some Dremora nerd named Tashti Terror. He had some oil that I need later. A pointless area. Even the USP brings it up. To say I've seen better world design in a mod is an insult to mods. Daedric left Pauldron. This shit is near impossible to find. It is the best of the best, save for, artifacts. Which I'm wearing. Some cooking supplies and such. Was fucking Sam Gamgee here?
Well. The ungrateful traitor. Just as she predicted. You were a fool to refuse your goddess. But trying to interfere in her plans, that we cannot allow. Make peace with your ancestors, heretic. This place will be your tomb.
I take a guess as to what to do and get treated to the sickest shit I've had the pleasure of experiencing in a long time. They actually take advantage of player mechanics. It's so cool. They do this cool-ass teleport. It's rad as shit. I feel like that was friendly fire, but first one down. The next one, and they teleport again. And another one. Has to be friendly fire. Another one. Maybe it's my spell reflect? I decide to take their helmets as trophies. The journal suggests using an Almalexia scroll, but why would I want to return to my ex's house? But it's that time again. It's time for the...
Oh, Nerevar, my general, my lover, my foe. Why does it always come to this?
A long discussion of things with my beloved Almalexia. It really made me care more about her. See her as more tragic and ill. I assume it's entirely from the mod. Envy or jealousy or hatred of gender roles. Nerevar wasn't necessarily a good person. He did think slavery and murder were way cool. Well, I don't believe that things are beautiful because they are impermanent. The idea of just leaving and being together again was too strong to give up the opportunity. But it wouldn't be enough for her. She cannot betray her nature. The mod author outdid themselves. This is fantastic. The dialogue, the presentation, the stages. She brings her dudes back as ghosts to fight me. This is an intricate boss fight. 10 seconds later, she goes beast mode and pulls out more bullshit. She's showing a fraction of the power she had at her peak. The closest this game can come to showing the full terrible might of a deity. I check alternative dialogue options since I could not finish her off the first time. We can learn more about her headspace. A truly awful place to reside. Just now realized. The Tribunal named their cities after themselves. Kinda like how the Daedra are their own realms. But only Sotha is his own city, really. And that's because of it being whack-ass tax shit. With no other options I can think of, for now, I work with the King's men. First I gotta find an informant from the temple. I find one in the form of Galsa Andrano, a healer who has grown wary of Almalexia's changes. She also explains that the temple considers health Sotha an existential threat and that he must be dealt with. No reward for my work, and now he wants me to find some disloyal guards. My fucks for this are fairly dry, so I'll just give the short version. A few of the guards seem to not like that Helseth killed the previous one, which makes sense. Murdering her way into being in control isn't always the best for stability or public relations. Speaking of, the family of the previous king are still pissed as shit and are setting up a plot to oust Helseth via death. I, of course, let them go. All of them. Because, as this guy says, I'm a good guy. Next up, I gotta engage in an American pastime, suppressing the freedom of speech and lying about it. I break into an old bitch's tomb. It's stinky. Pretty empty, though. Oh no, there's a plague going around. I wonder what asshole caused this to happen. She doesn't think it's an epidemic, but does want me to do some legwork and give a potion to some white guy. I hope it's not bleach. After robbing him some, I give this cracker a potion. Crackers love potions. Turns out there's a lot of Michael Mouses around. And also I gotta give away more slurpage. Thankfully, the dude is right outside. Turns out it's an ancient plague returning. Kinda like how measles and mumps in America are coming back because of dumb fucking crackers. Fantasy-ass sounding diseases. Pussy in the basement. She's sick. Gotta heal her down where we went into an ancient tomb.
Justice never sleeps.
I hear the pussy. She reveals that we're a super spreader. Oops. Well, I guess you are what you eat. I do eat assholes. The undead bitch speaks. She dies. Again. Her robe is, like, okay, but my OP Telvanni robe is way better. I say goodbye to the pussy.
May you walk on warm sands.
I bribe the news guy, giving him money to donate to a charity. It's a combination of done Mary pragmatism, but also temple ideals. I lie about liking Helseth, so I get a big fuck-off sword and my money back in exchange. Finally, paid for work. He tells me to talk to the Queen MILF. Her room is actually kinda impressive. She's got a waiting room / lounge. Unfortunately, my mods are fucked.
God, that itches.
An improvement, surely. I talked to her about a lot of shit. I can't find the king. This guy tells me to report to him. I even try to summon him. Doesn't work. Apparently, I just gotta wait. Which doesn't fucking work. I decided that, if nothing else, I guess I'll have to force an ending to occur. She's a fierce warrior, having spent the last 4,000 years growing ever deadlier. Though, the other two were only able to kill me because I was half dead the first time. The last time is different. Oh, caught in a bad romance. Oh, caught in a bad romance. Ra ra ah ah ah, Roma Roma ma ga ga ooh la la. Want your bad romance? Ra ra ah ah ah, Roma Roma ma ga ga ooh la la. Want your bad romance? I want your ugly. I want your disease. I want your everything as long as it's free. I want your love. Love, love, love. I want your love. I want your drama, the touch of your hand. I want your leather-studded kiss in the sand. I want your love. Love, love, love. I want your love. You know that I want you. You know that I need you. I want it bad, your bad romance. I want your love and I want your revenge. You and me could write a bad romance. Oh, I want your love and all your lovers' revenge. You and me could write a bad romance. Oh, caught in a bad romance. Oh, caught in a bad romance. Ra ra ah ah ah, Roma Roma ma ga ga ooh la la. Want your bad romance. I want your horror, I want your design. Cause you're a criminal as long as you're mine. I want your love. Love, 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 I want your love. I want your psycho, your vertical shtick. Want you in my rear window, baby, you're sick. I want your love. Love, 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 I want your love. You know that I want you. You know that I need you. Cause I'm a free bitch, baby, I want it bad. Your bad romance. I want your love and I want your revenge. You and me could write a bad romance. Oh, I want your love and all your lovers' revenge. You and me could write a bad romance. Oh, caught in a bad romance. Oh, caught in a bad romance. Ra ra ah ah ah, Roma Roma ma ga ga ooh la la. Want your bad romance? Ra ra ah ah, Roma Roma ma ga ga ooh la la. Want your bad romance? Walk walk fashion baby, work it, move that bitch crazy. Walk walk fashion baby, work it, move that bitch crazy. Walk walk fashion baby, work it, move that bitch crazy. Walk walk passion baby, work it. I'm a free bitch baby. I want your love and I want your revenge. I want your love. I don't wanna be friends. Je vous tant more et tu vas te rage. Je vous tant more. I don't wanna be friends. Oh, oh, I don't wanna be friends. I don't wanna be friends. Want your bad romance? Want your bad romance? I want your love and I want your revenge. You and me could write a bad romance. Oh, I want your love and all your lovers' revenge. You and me could write a bad romance. Oh, caught in a bad romance. Oh, caught in a bad romance. Ra ra ah ah ah, Roma Roma ma ga ga ooh la la. Want your bad romance?
So, this is what mortality tastes like. Divinity is but a temporary madness. Ah, like love. Ah.
I search her body for her blade, the mazed band, and also a part of the blade that used to be mine. Sick loot drops. The music changes as well. It's haunting in a way. I see that the young priest who had cleansed the shrine of the ancestors is standing there, aghast.
Oh, gods.
You have done well, mortal. The death of Almalexia is a boon for all of Morrowind, though it may take time for this to be understood. She would have betrayed the Dummer as surely as she had betrayed all those whom she loved. This was her curse and her undoing. Your work in Morrowind is not finished, Nerevar. Vivec still lives, but I believe his time grows short. Protect my people. Defend these lands. The skies of Mournhold are clear once again. Let these people suffer no longer. Now go, mortal. Embrace your destiny and go with my blessing.
Azura's bullshit, and she's still purple. The faithful are unwilling to admit what happened. I decided to check in with the last of the Tribunal to see what I should do if I need to pass final judgment. Because of sequence issues, which we will see that even after I managed to force things to work more, that I still didn't get told shit about his daughter. I get told about stuff that didn't happen, but this entire sequence is rather touching, so I'll let it play out.
For my sister, savage as the storm. And for my brother, brilliant as the sun.
Kirkbride said that Vivec would go on to collect their bodies, to handle them in the traditional Velothi way. Unfortunately at this time, Sotha is still alive, so shit's a bit fucked. But I speak to my beloved, tell her that I wish I could have saved her. She gives a mocking smile in return. I speak to Sotha Sil. I ask him if he is at peace, but his face shows no signs of either sorrow nor serenity. Meanwhile, Vivec is lost in his music. Eventually, the main theme bleeds into his song. I take leave of my lovers, in what states they may be. Hold it! I have the maze band. I prepare for war, enchanting the Daedric helm that is meant to represent my former life. My killing mask, the burden I must bear, and a breastplate, the bounty from which my life's treasures flow.
They tell us Almalexia is no longer in Mournhold. They say she exhausted her body and spirit in the war against Dagoth Ur. They claim she travels in disguise among the people, living the life of a mortal and recovering her love for the world. Lies. Honeyed lies to soothe the bitter green truth. The goddess is dead, and we are alone. The Ordinators would love to see me dead, would love to see me silenced, but they cannot, for their goddess no longer speaks to them. Vivec has withdrawn to his temple. The light of Sotha Sil is nowhere to be found. Did you see the ash storms, my faithful? Did you feel the winds of hell on your flesh? This is nothing, merely a taste of the troubles to come. The Prince of Destruction is womb ready. Once the City of Light and Magic was his entry. This time, all of Tamriel shall be his reaping field. Join us in the cleansing. That greatest of rituals. Join the army of the ancestors, spreading our word, making ready for when we shall all march together in our fight against the Daedric hordes.
Eno is preaching again, covering what has happened after I murdered my wife. I speak with Sotha about Almalexia, how I had to slay her. With our wife dead, he speaks of us, as we were. Our ability to form deep bonds with others despite differing cultures and ideas. But we were stuck in our ways, unable to learn truly from our beloved Dumac. He then goes on to speak of Dumac's gift to Am and I. To Nerevar was given true flame. To our beloved, when hope's fire. We must speak out the pieces of them, the two that were not on Almalexia's body. The Queen Mother tells us to go to Korad, one of her non-existent son's men. Nothing I try works. Dude won't talk because of a script issue, so I just gotta give it to myself. I gotta donate to the museum in order to get the last piece. I give away 2 items of little value before selling off those which are worth far more. Not that gold has much value to me anymore. Drip check for the piece of my weapon and the shield with just a chunk stuck in it. Sotha is able to reignite it for us.
There is a secret fire in the heart of Mundus. Witness the divine spark mortal, the flame imperishable.
But that's not the ending of things.
One last trick from the conjurer's sleeve. Well done, Sotha Sil.
Azura, what are you doing here?
I come to bear witness to the end of things, Sotha Sil. Do you remember my parting words?
This is not my act, but your act. You have chosen your fate and the fate of your people, and all the Dunmer shall share your fate from now to the end of time. You think yourselves gods, but you are blind, and all is darkness.
You called yourself the light of knowledge. How dim that flame burns now, Sotha Sil. Your spark is almost out.
You pretend to see everything, Azura. But you are mistaken. You may see the future. But seeing and knowing are not the same. One can see a battle in a prophecy. But what does that mean to someone who has never felt the bite of a blade? Who has never feared death?
Then tell me, mightiest wizard and most wise counselor of Nerevar, after all this time, what do you know?
Oh, I know you hate me for elevating myself to your level. For daring to lead the Dunmer from the dark of the Daedra to the light of the new age.
You believe I punished you for becoming a god? No, Sotha Sil. Divinity is a burden. I wanted to spare you that pain. And my people, the pain I saw you would inflict on them as you suffered. Mortal hearts are too fragile to beat in immortality. Your minds too gentle to brood for eternity.
Did I not do good? Defeat great monsters? Create marvels? Elevate my people?
The other peoples of Tamriel have thrived without living gods. Was your divinity enough to defeat the Empire? Or slay the devil Dagoth Ur? Or prevent Almalexia from torturing my people? No. Your salvation was in the general you betrayed, guided by my hand. So tell me, Sotha Sil, now that the era of god-kings has reached its dusk, are you satisfied? You, who are neither a true god nor even a true man, We both know you shed your humanity long ago.
The less of a man I became, and the more of an automaton. So the dreams and half-memories ceased to plague me. It was as if they had deliberately driven me into this mindless role. So long as I continued to be a creature without remorse or conscience, they would reward me with their absence. If I again showed signs of ordinary humanity, they would punish me with their presence.
Do you wish me to spare you this burden, Sotha Sil?
The road is straight without turning in darkness. Yes, I wish it. Let it end.
And so finally, at the end, you understand my words. Farewell, Sotha Sil.
His rebuttals are ones that almost sound desiring of love. The tone mixed with the wording. The fact that it's his anticipation that says all this. She shows a gentleness that contrasts her more petty and wicked acts. Though she lies through omission, something more akin to Vivec. They were unable to ensure the well-being of their people against the Empire and Dagoth Ur because of the loss of their powers. She cares not that the nation was one with slavery as its focus or any other moral compunction. She only wants devotion, without thought. Reminds me of most deities from real life. He was plagued by what he did to us, how he wronged us, so he became less human, more machine. Almost like cyberpsychosis, but more of a depressive disconnect from reality than an excitable one. His life is certainty, clouded in misery. He wishes for the end of it. He waxes poetic about the nature of things, how we can end him with the very blade he helped forge. He thinks it fitting to die by my hands. And as I said before, this is my burden.
Violence is the most predictable of all mortal responses.
And with that, another of my levers is dead. I return to Vivec, the city and the god. I ask Sotha Sil the questions I hadn't before, and then I ask my wife the other two as well. After everything, all the suffering, leaving him alive to clean up his mess feels right. But what if they all died? I got rid of the moon, endangering my people. What if I was all that was left? Would the love of the people be enough? The series and I were born in the same year, in the same month. I've shared a bond with it for nearly 20 years at this point. My old man and I, we always loved fantasy stuff. When we got Oblivion, we played it together, though I ended up taking over the save since I played it more. But I remember being a bit scared of the zombie near the start, so I had him with me for any zombie-related things. The Tribunal. The other lovers of Nerevar. They were heavily flawed people, who all suffered as a result. Since starting this project, this video specifically, I've lost 2 online friends. One I knew for over a year. The other, we hadn't spoken in over a year, but I had hopes. She and I were very close for years on end. My old man never knew about her. He never knew about any of my exes, neither online or locally. Not being able to share the different parts of my life, I've had to compartmentalize myself. I didn't, or rather, don't allow different friend groups or family to talk together. Like Nerevar, I've been able to love and be loved by very different people. And like Nerevar, I can't make them work together. There are things I could never tell him, never let him know. He died never knowing that I'm not straight, which is wild since he and my birthgiver were both queer. I think they were both bisexual, and he was a transmasculine man. My conception was complicated. It was a pagan ritual thing, but that's less on topic. Needless to say that I was born into a more out there lifestyle than most. The alien nature of Morrowind, the differing details of it, how it's so different from most fantasy. The world building gets me to love it, despite how the actual gameplay is lacking. It may have more hours into Skyrim, modded Skyrim is fantastic, but I love the ideas of Morrowind more. Choosing if I am Nerevarine or not. If the burden of fate is one that I should willingly allow to weigh me down. To save those that are trapped in bondage, despite society saying that their bondage is just. Knowing that in the end, I've put to rest the tormented minds and souls of those that I loved. If you've experienced loss, you likely know a bit about what I'm getting at. The desire to both wish that they were still with you, but also that their pain has ended. When my old man died, one of the few things that my uncle could say was that at least his suffering was over. Chronic pain, half of his body barely working, mental illness that he'd been using drugs to cope with ever since he was a teenager. Almalexia is a good study into evil mothers, because she had the capacity for love. Bipolar disorder, any other mental health issues, can make somebody that might otherwise try to do well do horrible things. But at the end of the day, they're still choosing how they handle things. My grandmother shows isolation and bitterness over family. She'd rather live in a rotting house with Grandpa and half of my old man's ashes instead of having the rest of us still tolerate her despite everything. My old man shows what would kill him instead of learning to heal. My birthgiver was the same way, though she was horrifically abusive. I'm a statistical anomaly. Not many people have a trans parent, nor multiple queer parents. But I have all that, and 2 of them died from cocaine-induced heart attacks. Lucky me. This is all to say that Morrowind is ugly and beautiful. Like life. It's the continuation of shit that happened a long time ago. I just wish I was better prepared to cover it. This still feels like an incomplete project that I will need to return to many years from now when I can get things right. For now, I have the next game to look forward to, and hopefully, a brighter future. Happy belated Valentine's Day, everybody. I hope that you can find some love in your life, no matter what form it takes. Still, due to a lack of having the space currently, I have not been able to make a small shrine for my old man yet. So to the digital world this Hot Topic enthusiast goes. I'd like to thank you for watching, as well as my current patrons over on Patreon. There's only 2 at the moment, but their support still means a lot to me. Their names are Connor and Leon, and I'd like to thank them for their continued support. If you'd like to support me, there's a link to my Patreon in the description of this video. My next big video is on Undertale, a game where if you somehow haven't heard of it yet, I don't know quite what to tell you. It's kinda big amongst the sort of people that like to fuck monsters and or enjoy Earthbound. See you next time, and until then, stay safe, stay strong, and remember that trans rights are human rights.